Welcome to RNS Podcast, Real Nerd Stuff. I'm Dylan, and this is my co-host, Evan. What's your name?
My name's Evan.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm excited to talk about one of me and Evan's favorite movies, maybe of all time. Evan, how far up the your favorite movies does this crawl?
Well, I mean, Part 2 is in my top 3. I don't know
movies ever?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Spider-Man 2 is one of my top 3. Part 1, it's one of my favorite movies, but like as far as ranking goes, I would have to think about it.
At the very least, it's very. I know it's very.
Because I don't have like my top 10 movies ranked. I have like pretty much like my top 4. Just because Letterboxd, I'm like, yeah, these are my 4 favorite movies.
Do they only let you do 4 on Letterboxd?
Yeah, on your favorite.
On the top part? Yeah, I think I only have 3. This is actually one of my top 3. I don't know if it actually is or not.
You have. So here's the funny thing. So Dylan has Back to the Future, then Spider-Man 1. I have Battle Royale, and then Spider-Man 2. So there you go.
But Evan, Spider-Man 1 touches me in my heart. It's it's definitely one of your favorite superhero movies in general, though.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1 are my favorite superhero movies.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's easy to say.
Not The Dark Knight.
No.
Not Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
No, definitely not that.
Not the Snyder Cut.
No.
That's messed up.
It'd be like Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, and maybe like Days of Future Past or First Class.
I think Spider-Man 1 for me, it's like tied for first with like Iron Man 1, the first Superman movie, and Batman Begins. I think they're all like perfect, like superhero origin movies. And I always like beginnings and origins and whatever the franchise is, whatever. I usually like the first one the best. But I actually have a bit of a revelation, Evan.
Okay.
While I was watching this, I was like, damn, Spider-Man 2 is better, I think.
It is a better movie.
I think it is.
It is. Definitely. Easily, in my opinion.
I still might like
They're both amazing, though.
Yeah,
so I'm not trying to say, like, when I say that, I'm not taking away from Spider-Man 1. I fucking love this movie. But 2, it's just a better made movie, I think.
There was a few times in this movie where they mentioned, like, Peter getting a job or moving out or whatever, and I was like, it's better when he's, like, you get to see him in college, and I kind of like him a bit older.
Me too. I also like that more. And also, I just think when it comes to superhero movies, sequels can sometimes just be like easily be better just because you skip the origin. I know that you were saying that's what you like, but sometimes you can just get right into the meat of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
In this movie, I think the origin stuff. We're actually watching the movie on mute while we talk about it. Not this scene, the scene where he actually gets the spider bite, but like the death of Uncle Ben and that whole like human spider part is amazing.
Yeah,
I love that part.
Me too.
But generally, I know what you mean. Kind of the origin can be it can feel like an obligation.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
We have to show Batman's parrot get shot in fucking Batman v Superman.
Yeah,
like.
Oh yeah, it was even in that, which is stupid. But...
Yeah, because Batman's like 55.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. And I used to think I was one of those Twitter users, one of those slack-jawed weakling Twitter users that think that Spider-Man has to be a teenager. He really doesn't.
No.
I think college age is pretty much perfect for him.
I agree. Because, like, college is, like, a really good time to lend even more shit to Peter Parker. And all the best Spider-Man stories is when he's deeply, in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So, when you're college age, or just kind of on your own in general, it's a lot harder than just when you're in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alright, well, Evan, what do you want to talk about?
I guess we are going, back to formula, you may say.
Oh!
A little Spider-Man 1 joke for you. A little RNS joke for you. Because I think we're going to just be talking about the movie from beginning to end, right?
Yeah.
So the movie... Well, first, let's talk about the title sequence.
The very long opening
the
credits
title
sequence.
This isn't... It's outdated, but I love it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about it, to be honest. It's whatever. I
just brought it up because it's not something you would see in a superhero movie now.
Yeah.
Not even really in many movies now.
No, no. It's Patrick H. Willems.
Who is that?
It's like this bald guy on YouTube. He's pretty popular. He made a pretty good video about not using opening credits.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're definitely not a thing you see too often. Especially not in blockbusters. Definitely not in blockbusters.
I appreciate them.
Me too.
I like being eased into the world.
Yeah.
Eased into the experience.
I agree. And also, Spider-Man ones, they just feel so iconic to me.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, I've seen it so many times since I was a little kid. And also the Danny Elfman score. Hearing
it's fucking amazing.
Yes, okay. The Spider-Man theme. This whole movie just has, like, one of my favorite scores ever.
Me too. And we've mentioned this time and again, Evan.
Yes.
I'm not a huge score guy. This song is definitely on my workout playlist.
The Spider-Man theme.
Nothing makes you want to pound fucking
pump iron. Nothing makes you want to pump iron.
Nothing makes you want to pound boy meat like fucking Spider-Man theme song. Yeah.
Pretty much. I would agree with that. Well, then after that, we are given our opening monologue. Another thing you don't really see too much in superhero movies now. Well, the narration.
That's also kind of
a Spider-Man thing.
It is, but I mean, it's kind of a comic book thing, really.
Yeah.
So I think that also there's a lot of things in this movie. I'm sure we'll mention them more. There's a lot of things that make this feel very genre-y. I don't know how to call. I don't want to say it makes it feel like a comic book. It makes it feel. That's like people say that all the time.
Yeah.
It really there's a lot of stylistic choices that make this feel like heightened.
Yes,
in a good way.
I agree. And the narration and just the dialogue in general, I think, are a big part of that. And as we know, Raimi took a lot of inspiration from the actual Stan Lee run of Spider-Man on his movies. And if you've read it or just know about it, Stan Lee's dialogue. It's not like, I don't know. I feel like you can describe it a little bit better than I can.
It's pretty clunky.
Yeah, kind of clunky.
Yeah.
Not to say that it feels more natural in the movie than it does in the comic, if that makes sense. It feels more real in the movie than reading a 60s Spider-Man comic by Stan Lee. But you can tell that the dialogue is very, in this movie, and just the trilogy in general, is very heavily indebted to Stan Lee's writing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It feels like I feel like you have to give a lot of credit to the actors.
Because they can pull it off and make it feel natural.
Yeah,
of course. Toby, Goat.
It's kind of it reminds me of what they say about Star Wars. I think I don't remember who, but someone said to George Lucas, you can write this shit, but you can't say it.
Yeah.
I could see it getting to that point. I don't think the dialogue is that crazy in this, but it's pretty. Stanley's dialogue is pretty ham-fisted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's
It's not like they lift direct lines except for one classic line.
Of course, which we'll get to, as you should all already know what it is.
Of course, Ben doesn't actually say that, right?
No, he doesn't.
Nah.
At the end of, what is it, Amazing Fantasy?
Yeah, Amazing Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah, at the end of it, it's just in, a narrative bubble.
Right.
It's
and he learned.
Yes. Yeah. But still, that's, like I said, Stan Lee's writing, because they never used... I'm sure a big part of the reason they never used that line again was because Sam Raimi already used it. But in The Amazing Spider-Man and Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man, I said Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man.
Well, I mean that's closer to a creative mind behind it than we actually know who the director is. So,
but yeah, there is no. They each had their version of that line.
They paraphrase it.
Yeah, and it's just way shittier. They don't even paraphrase it because in The Amazing Spider-Man, Martin Sheen's Uncle Ben's, it's so long and drawn out and unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean. It's
not paraphrasing.
It's the opposite of paraphrasing.
Both of them are longer. It's just because they don't want to say it, and it just sounds shittier.
It reminds me of that thing where you can put a URL into a thing and it changes how the URL looks.
Yeah.
But it doesn't it changes the URL so you can't tell what the link really is.
Yes.
It's like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just made it longer.
Yeah. It's not. I don't actually. I'll give. Because Civil War, like I said, we do like experiment with that. I don't think it's as bad in Civil War because it's not coming from a wise old man. Yeah. It's coming from Tom, and it kind of makes sense the way he says it in that. He's just I'm looking out for the little guy, which makes sense. In The Amazing Spider-Man, it's just shitty.
I don't like how he says it in Homecoming. I don't want to talk too much about Homecoming, but...
Civil War, you mean? It's in Civil War, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I don't like what he says there about... he's like, when the bad things come and you don't do the good things, then the bad things happen. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Jesus.
But I do think it's better than Amazing Spider-Man, so. Just because, like, I don't like how Uncle, like, you really doing Uncle Ben dirty by making him say this shitty,
And you know what? That's a good fucking props to Sam, or maybe it was his wonderful, beautiful. Is his brother a writer?
No.
Or he just gave him a cameo?
Yeah.
Fantastic, wonderful Ted Raimi himself.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, Hoffman, yeah. I love Hoffman.
Me too.
That's one thing I love about the Raimi movies, too, is, like, I love the goddamn side characters. Like, Ted Raimi is awesome. Betty Brant is awesome. I'm sorry, I forget.
Even just the cameos.
The cameos,
like
too, but...
Like, the background extras and, like, famous people just have cameos.
I always liked, but...
Robbie? Robbie is amazing.
I
fucking love Robbie.
Robbie, even though he barely gets any screen time.
He has more in 2 than he does in part 1. I realize he's literally in only one scene in part 1. But he has a little bit more.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's defending Spider-Man in both, I think.
Yeah,
both movies.
And 2, he has a much more... Like, he has a small role in both, but in 2, he has a kind of famous part. I don't know if I want to say save, but his moment in part 2 is a lot more significant than in 1. But we'll talk about that when we get to.
But yeah, I like that you have the dynamic of like Jameson's beta like male servant, and then you have his like sassy secretary, like, and his wife is always bothering him.
Yes, all the side characters in the Spider-Man films are amazing.
I watched most of this movie last night with my aunt. Terry, who you may have heard famously interrupted the last episode. Last night she actually laughed out loud at J.K. Simmons.
Well, he's amazing in this movie.
He's fantastic. Amazing. I just thought it was funny that, like, even on TV 20 years later, he's still fucking funny. Yeah. But yeah, he's perfect, and there's always that meme about, like, it was kind of a meme for TASM where they were like, just recast J.K. Simmons, you could never top him.
Yeah.
And then they literally did it in the MCU, because it's kind of true.
And props on them for that. I'll give them props for that. Yeah.
I don't like how he's Alex Jones, but that's a whole nother conversation.
We'll see how they do it in No Way Home.
That's a whole nother conversation.
We'll see how they do it in No Way Home.
I swear if he tries to sell, like, supplements, I'm going to be pissed.
That does seem like what they're trying to portray him as.
Alex Jones, basically, yeah. I don't like that.
Well, like I said, we'll see. I'll try and give them the benefit of the doubt on this one.
And then J.K. Simmons actually has one of my... other than just, like, the Daily Bugle scenes being amazing, he has one of my favorite parts, like moments in the movie. We'll get to that later.
You know, someone actually ruined that moment for me.
How?
I'll talk to it when we get to it.
Oh, I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well, stick around. You'll find out.
But anyways, so after his opening narration, we get Peter. This when we basically get the introduction that he's kind of a loser.
Everyone deeply hates him.
Yeah, so it starts out with him chasing the bus because he's late or whatever, or they just didn't want to let him. I guess he's late, right? He missed the bus.
Yeah.
This is a common thing for...
Well, as far as I can tell, they don't stop for him.
No, they don't.
They don't stop for him. He's not late. They don't stop.
They know... Yes, because we see that later.
Yeah.
We see that later. But anyways...
What an asshole.
No, everyone... Okay, so they go, like, super ham on everyone hating Peter in these movies. It's... I would say, like... Where they hate him the least, it's definitely MCU, I think.
Yeah, he's not an outcast in the MCU because he's in a school full of nerds.
Yeah, but again, this is more...
He's like the most handsome kid at that school because it's all nerds.
This is, again, more, I think, indebted to Stan Lee because this is in Stan Lee's, run of Spider-Man, and when he's in high school, you see, like, everyone fucking shits on him and makes fun of him. So I think, like we said, Sam really drawing from that. So Peter getting on the bus, he was chasing after the bus, and everyone's just laughing at him. Even the bus driver sees him trying to go on, and they're just laughing their asses off. And then we see beautiful Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson. She has, I guess, they have some repertoire with each other, I suppose. They've been neighbors for most of their lives.
It's strange to me that they kind of, the way they do it, like, they've never talked before.
Yeah.
But they know who each other are.
Yes,
They might as well just be childhood friends, but I guess I don't know. I'm not a genius like Sam Raimi, so I wouldn't know. But either way, yeah, she definitely is like the only one that feels bad for him, which is cute.
I think like the point of this is that just the fact that they've been neighbors her whole life, she kind of has a soft spot for him.
Yeah.
It's obviously not the love, that deep love that she has for him, which we'll get into. That doesn't really start happening till the backyard scene, but she stops the bus for him. And then, like we said, when he gets on, we see just everybody fucking hates.
Yeah, everyone's glaring at him. The fat piece of shit, greasy donut guy is glaring at him. One thing I thought was weird or interesting is that the way Flash looks at him is like he feels bad.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Can we rewind the tape?
Yeah, we can take a look. Because everyone is scowling at him.
Yeah, but okay, Flash... even the nerdy girl, there's a girl who's like, she kind of looks like female Peter.
Yeah. And even she doesn't want anything to do with him. Yeah.
And apparently, I did not know this until today. Apparently, that's supposed to be Liz Allen.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. I did not know that.
Like, that's actually, a hard, actually supposed to be
apparently,
her?
that's confirmed.
That's kind of cool.
Anyways, and then, I don't even know where the fuck did Peter sit down on the bus.
He stands in the back.
Does he stand the whole time?
He stands in the back with his face against the door.
Because we see him get knocked down.
That fat guy is so funny.
It is funny. All the extras in the movies are funny as fuck.
That also kind of lends it to being a comic book, because, usually... Will you pause it for just one moment?
Yeah, of course.
The way... Okay, so, I just wanted to mention real quick about the extras, and then I want to talk about Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The extras in this are, very noticeable, and that's kind of a meme.
Yeah,
everything in these movies are a meme.
Yeah.
But
at this point, yes.
It's a well-known thing, though, that the extras can be very distracting in these movies.
I don't want to say distracting, because distracting has, a negative connotation with it.
Well, I don't know
For me, it's just, the extras... It's almost just, the side character thing. It's just, they're amazing. I like them all.
Well, what I wanted to mention about that is it in a comic book, your background characters aren't very noticeable, unless it's a certain very particular type of comic book. But in, superhero comics, a generic superhero comic... Your background characters aren't going to draw your attention.
Yes.
But having in a movie have your background characters, your extras be very cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a counterintuitive way of also making it feel comic booky.
Yeah.
Because that's not really how it is in comic books specifically, but
it's not how it is in real life either.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
or I should say, maybe not real life, but a movie. They're gonna cast normal ass looking people in a movie as extras.
Everyone's normal and handsome.
If it was any other, I don't want to say any other director, but if it was just another situation where Spider-Man be made, it'd just be normal
more generic
looking,
superhero movie.
It'd just be normal looking teenagers in this situation on the bus. But of course, it doesn't mean that in the Spider-Man 1, they all look clearly not like high schoolers. They all look like grown adults.
I never really thought about this, and I do want to. I'm not going to forget about Flash. We're going to talk about him just a momento, but in just a minute when they get to their field trip, the fucking teacher looks younger than all of them.
He is this is actually a well-known fact, because I remember on Twitter, I shouldn't say well-known fact. It's a well-known fact among
for
Raimi connoisseurs. That
we actually should rein it in a little bit, because I feel like most people that we get to watch this are probably not going to be on the same level. We're super big Raimi fans.
Yeah.
We follow the Raimi Twitter accounts and the Raimi subreddit, fucking whatever.
But that guy, the guy who plays the teacher, is actually he was the same age as Joe Manganiello. I don't know how you say it. Yeah.
He looks like Fillmore.
He does, but another iconic side character, the fucking teacher.
Of course. Yeah. Let's go talk about how we listen.
Yeah. Why is he better than Martin Starr at the teacher in the MCU?
I don't want to talk about Martin Starr. And
you know what I'm saying?
I don't want
but you
to
gotta say Martin Starr's he's not a famous actor, but he's an established movie actor, and he has not a big role, but a bigger role than this teacher does in both movies.
Fault. I don't think it's his fault.
Oh, me either necessarily, but I'm just saying it's just little.
You would expect
little details like that are better than things in all of the MCU Spider-Man. But anyways,
I do agree with you. But let's finally get to
Flash.
Mm-hmm. So take a look here, Evan. So this is Peter's POV walking down the bus aisle, and we're seeing people's reactions to him. And then look how once he approaches Flash kind of can't look him in the eye. MJ looks up at him.
I don't think that's him feeling bad for him though.
Either it's him feeling bad or him being
It seems even worse in my opinion. It seems like he's not even acknowledging him.
Well, it's not like he's looking away out the window or looking at Mary Jane. He's avoiding eye contact with Peter. It kind of makes me feel like he kind of feels maybe a little bad for him.
I don't think so. It seems to me dehumanizing, the fact that he won't even look at him. I think, in my opinion, that's maybe what it's more going for. But we also see that his eyes are just totally drawn on Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Have we seen this in this frame? His eyes are literally like...
She's completely centered in the frame.
No, I'm talking about his eyes. Look
Joe.
Look at Joe and Flash Thompson's eyes. They're literally just like straight on him.
Well, he kind of sees Peter approaching. He looks down and then he looks at Mary Jane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's embarrassed for Peter. I don't know. I don't think it's me.
That's interesting. I've definitely never heard that take on Flash Thompson. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, he doesn't become antagonistic towards him because I don't think Flash trips him right there, right? That's someone else.
I think that was him. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing
guy?
that's him. No, it's him, Buddy, the one with blonde hair.
Oh, the other jock
yeah.
guy. But yeah, Flash. Wait, Flash is mean to Harry, but not Peter.
He is mean to Peter.
What does he do to Peter?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're gonna get to it.
It's because he dumps his big lunch on him.
Because you remember Harry tries to stand up for Peter, and that's when they make fun of Harry. Because Harry's like, leave him alone.
What does he try and stand up for Peter about?
We'll see.
Oh, he does. He does bump him when he's trying to take a picture.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, never mind.
No, these guys are just assholes.
Maybe he's a little gay for Peter.
That could be it. I mean, there is a known Flash Spider-Man love.
What?
How
Right,
Flash is
right.
obsessed with Spider-Man.
I love that.
Yeah.
I actually saw a cool it was from the 60s. It might have been like the original run of where like Flash like tries to be Spider-Man.
Yeah,
when
they never
Spider-Man's,
do
like,
anything.
decommissioned.
They never do anything with that in the Raimi movies because Flash.
They don't do anything that in the TASM either.
I think they did. In part 2?
Flash?
Yeah.
Flash isn't in part 2.
Of TASM? Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
Well, who cares who he sucks? Anyways, so yeah, then we see, it kind of skips to the class field trip. I guess they're going to, what's the science museum?
I think the bus was taking them to the field trip,
Yeah.
but I guess that doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
But yeah, Harry gets dropped off, and he's like, Daddy, don't take me in the rolls.
In the roles. Okay, so this is the first scene where we see a little beef between Harry and his father.
Yeah.
Mr. Norman Osborn, played by Willem Dafoe, the antagonist of this film.
Yeah. Good point, Evan.
Harry, I was about to literally say what Willem Dafoe said, but he's not ashamed of who he is.
You're saying Harry, well, he knows he's going to get bullied for being rich, which is stupid. That would not happen in public school today, but, a lot, I mean, at least by us, when we were in high school, there was a lot of kids that were like...
Yeah, he just wants to be fit in, I guess, Harry. And
Yeah.
obviously pulling up in the Rolls Royce with Norman Osborn, who's like established, extremely rich man in this. I'm assuming he's a billionaire.
Or
Maybe not.
2000s equivalent.
I think in like the comics, Norman Osborn's supposed to be a billionaire, but in this he might not be a billionaire in this. That's kind of pushing it, I think.
I mean, his house looks like a billionaire house.
It is nice as fuck.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Why do you bump him, Flash?
so Harry and Norman pull up, and Norman's like, basically tells like, this is where we kind of get the first sign that Norman thinks Harry's kind of a piece of shit.
Just
he's
in the
like,
car, yeah.
because he's like, you flunked out of every school, and you want me to every private school, and
It's kinda-
you want me to like, you know, feel bad for you or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting that they give you so much information just in that 1 second where it's like, is he right for doing this? Why is this, like, is he right for being embarrassed? Should he even be embarrassed? Or like, or what? And then they answer all your questions in like 1 second. Because
Yeah.
he's like, you flunked out every school I put you in. So it also makes me question how long they've been friends, Harry and Peter. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a little bit because Harry brings that up about the 4th grade specifically.
Does he?
Yeah, towards the end of the movie. So yeah, we see that they have a kind of a strained relationship just in that little moment, you know what I mean? Or they maybe have some resentment towards each other. Harry and
Norman.
Yeah, Harry and Norman. And then Harry forgets his bag and Norman pops out. And this is when Peter and Norman meet. And we see Norman immediately takes to Peter.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, oh, I've read all your papers. And that kind of starts the fatherly thing between them.
Yeah.
How Norman kind of filmed this fatherly role for Peter, which is a big thing in this movie.
I mean, I don't know if he fills that role, but it's like, clearly Norman, like, he wants his son to be more like Peter.
Yeah.
And he likes Peter.
But at the end, Norman's literally like, oh, I've been a father to you, Peter. He says that to him. You know what I mean? But daddy issues is just a big thing in this movie in general.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I don't ever really see that talked about, which is interesting. I never really see that part of it talked about in Spider-Man 1. But all 3 of the main characters have daddy issues, which I think we'll get into a little bit more.
That being Harry and
Peter, Harry, and
MJ.
MJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one thing I want to mention about that.
And all their character arcs
about MJ.
In this movie, and kind of throughout the trilogy, kind of stem from their daddy issues.
Well, yeah, because Peter becomes MJ's daddy, and Harry becomes his own daddy, and that's kind of true, actually.
Harry does become his own daddy,
in multiple ways, no less.
Yeah. Peter and Norman immediately take to each other. Yeah, that relationship kind of holds up throughout the movie until it doesn't. But anyways, they start going into the science museum, looking at the spiders. This one we see, Flash is kind of an asshole to him and Harry. You have anything to say about that?
I often think, not often, but sometimes I'll think about superhero stories and I'll be like, what would happen? What would these little people's lives be like if they didn't get their little powers or whatever? I wonder what would have happened. Norman seemed... We get very little of depowered Norman.
Yeah,
He's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
But he's not too bad.
I think I'll talk about that in a little bit.
All we really get is him, like, he's kind of mean to Harry, but at the same time, it's like, is he like that every day? Probably not. He seems pretty present. Like, he's riding with him to bring him to school. Like, he probably didn't have to do that, but he did. And he brought him his little backpack. He said hi to his friend. Like,
yeah. I think the issue between him and Harry is the fact that he kind of looks down on Harry.
Yeah, because Harry's a piece of shit.
So, yeah, they're going through a science museum. Harry flirts a little bit with MJ.
Well, it's not really a science museum, it's a laboratory, but yeah.
Oh, okay, whatever it is. And they're looking at the spiders. Peter tells Harry the little cool facts about the spider, and Harry trying to use that to move in on MJ. Because Peter won't do it himself. And then Peter, we get that little famous scene where he's taking the pictures of her.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think about that, Don?
It's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I feel like there's not too much to say when they actually get inside, except, he gets bit by a spider.
Well, yeah, one of the spiders is missing. It's a genetically modified one.
But it is... Peter. I do like how the scene feels kind of natural, and I like how Harry's just being completely fake to MJ.
Yes.
I like it.
Which is a thing also in this movie.
Yeah, later on, he continues to be that way.
Yeah.
What is his name? Joseph Strickland?
Get
you a nice guy. Get you a real guy like me.
It's the beginning. It's the beginning where you see Harry kind of riding Peter's coattails. Because he literally uses the lines that Peter fed him to MJ.
Well, yeah, because she's like, oh, gross. Like, MJ's like, oh, gross, spiders. And then Harry's like, yeah, I hate them. And then she's like, no, they're cool.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well... Did you know they turn invisible?
Yeah. Which he totally took
Didn't you know this is the biggest microscope on the Eastern Seaboard? That's funny.
That is funny. I do like that. But anyway, Peter takes the pictures of MJ, and then he gets bit by the genetically modified Spider-Man. Spider-Man by the genetically modified spider.
And I like that the spider is red and blue.
Me too. It's just funny.
It's funny, but it's also like... I'm glad there's like a slight explanation for why he's red and blue.
Yeah, I can.
Why the fuck would a spider be red and blue? But also they do like a double explanation on that because in the ad it says colorful characters wanted.
Yeah.
So of course he's gonna make a colorful outfit. That's one bad outfit.
Yeah, and also the red and blue just kind of stands out from the colors chosen in this movie. Most of the movie is like blue, green, and orange. And I think the red just kind of stands out. Yeah. But it's not even... Part 1's not even too orange. I think that's mostly a Part 2 thing.
I was actually thinking about that, yeah.
It's in the marketing a lot, but the film itself isn't too orange. I think it's a bit more in Part 2.
But it looks great.
Yeah.
In general, this entire movie, I don't care about the effects. They look fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Or, not. I shouldn't say that. Not the effects. The effects don't look amazing.
No, I get what you were saying.
The movie looks amazing itself.
It's shot wonderfully.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And there's this one scene at the end. I forget if it's like... after the bridge or during the bridge, but Spider-Man pulls up and just like the way the shadows cast on him, like it looks so like it looks like a beautiful comic book drawing.
It does.
Brought to life, no less, Evan.
But after he gets bit, did you want to talk about that Norman scene really quick?
Which one?
Where they set
up the military contract. Yeah.
So
last night Terry said, "So that's why he's the Green Guy."
Yeah. So for some reason, Oscorp's like building gliders and shit. And like I guess kind of a super soldier serum.
They're trying to be like the what's the word? The main military supplier.
Yeah, and they're making like I guess
they're making gliders.
It's like a super soldier serum. Yeah. But it's not ready. The formula is no good.
They must really no. I want to say one thing too. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I think that's I think that's okay. he's like, I'm giving the grant to Quest if you don't have it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. 2 weeks. No. He says he's gonna get, the military man says he's gonna give the grant to a different corporation called Quest.
Yeah.
If they don't have results,
which is real.
In 2 weeks.
It's a real company.
Quest is a real company. Yeah. That's hilarious. When I was a kid, I always thought that must have been a reference, but like a reference to a Marvel comic or something. But no, it's just the Sam Raimi makes it like fucking Amazon or whatever. But so he must really hate Norman Osborn. Going back to the military guy, because we see their prototype and it's fucking garbage.
It's like some RoboCop shit.
It's a not even that. It's a flying fucking refrigerator. Yeah. It's a hovering refrigerator. Like, this dude Norman is like super close to a Captain America. Plus he has like a super functional working glider with guns on it.
Well, we also know that he kind of just doesn't like him, because right there he told Norman to his face, I never supported you.
He's like, you know what? I didn't like it.
He said, I never supported your fucking program.
He says it was his predecessor, yeah.
Yeah, he's never supported it.
They do a really good job of, like, establishing certain things through dialogue without having it feel, like, super exposition-y.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Like, you can kind of just hand-wave it and it feels natural.
But I do want to say something about this scene, though. I think before I used to always feel really bad for Norman, because for the most part, he's a pretty good guy, and he just kind of happens to turn into this villain. But I see now more what Sam Raimi was going for. I think the thing with Norman is that he's just overly ambitious. It's a bit similar to Doc Ock.
To Otto Octavius?
Yeah,
is that
it's a
really
bit
his
similar.
name? That's such a dumb name. Like,
and
acknowledge the joke.
Yes, MCU. And I think they establish his greediness a bit. Because he's like, he would do anything to not lose this multi-whatever, $1 million, billion, whatever, contract. And
well, he does say that Oscorp will die if they don't get that, if they don't maintain that contract.
Yeah, I never knew if that meant, like, very literally, or just, like, it's going to fall out of relevance.
Just because I think everything is kept pretty tight in this movie, like, as far as, like, when they do exposition.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to just be literal.
You think so?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we see Norman is willing to put people in risk here. Like I said, it's very subtle. But he's like, no, it's ready for human testing. Like, he's ready to turn people into the fucking Green Goblin because his formula is not ready.
He did it to himself, though.
Well, yeah, he did. No, I'm saying, but it's only because he had to.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the doctor, the one with the glasses, the one that he murdered.
That's his name.
Dr. Strong?
Dr. Strong.
Okay, yeah.
Dr. Strong. Norman, Dr. Strong is dead.
Yeah, he's
later.
He tells them, no, we can't do any human testing on this. I think it's implied that Norman wouldn't just get regular ass people who sign up to test to take this, even though it's clearly not ready.
I give him a little credit. I guess they do a good job of kind of keeping him gray a little bit. Because the fact that he does do it himself, this dude could have paid a homeless guy. He could have paid a homeless guy, like, hey, here's $1,000, step into my little gas chamber.
Yeah. But like I said, I just think it's a warning against being overly ambitious.
Yeah.
A lot of what they do with Norman. And like I said, it's similar to what they do with Doc Ock in Part 2.
And you know what they say about great power?
Comes with great responsibility.
Yeah.
And, these villains ignore it.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Don't they? Excuse me.
So, yeah, then after this, we see...
That's when the big change happened, when he was looking at Mary Jane through the window.
After that scene, yeah, we got a big change with both Peter and Norman. I really like how they kind of dual... I don't know how to word, but they do Norman's... They sync Peter's origin and Norman's
the way they
together.
do it, too, is like... It's really cool because Peter comes home and he feels sick after the spider bite.
Yeah.
He falls asleep and it becomes kind of like creepy. And then he kind of falls asleep while we transition into the Goblin's origin. And of course he wasn't dreaming about the Goblin's origin, but it gives you the impression that Peter had kind of like a bad nightmare or like a bad night's sleep. And it's not like literal like that was his dream, but it flows really nicely.
Yeah, and it's interesting. That happens again towards the end of the movie when he falls asleep in the hospital next to Aunt May.
What does it transition into or what?
Oh, I just mean like he kind of dreams that something bad happened when he falls asleep next to Aunt May. Because that's when Norman finds out about MJ. Oh. And then you see the jump scare and Peter wakes up.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you say,
It's kind of similar to what happens at the beginning.
Okay.
So yeah, you just have those dual origins. Like we said, Norman murders Dr. Strom, turns into a Green Goblin after testing the formula on himself, the super soldier serum.
God rest his soul, Dr. Strom.
Yeah.
It would be really cool if they brought Dr. Strom back as the Shocker.
It would, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't. It would be very stupid.
Where's Glass Man?
Yeah. Anyway, so Peter wakes up, and he's now Spider-Man.
And he's epic. And he does the practical stunt.
Yeah.
Where he kicks his little legs down the stairs. He kind of jumps down the stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
And then, his aunt and uncle are shocked. They're happy that he's feeling better. And he says, well, by golly, teenagers. You know, they never change. And then I wanted to talk about this, okay, because he's going to go outside, Peter, and he's going to find that Mary Jane is being domestically abused.
Yeah, I also do want to talk about this.
So you mind if I speak on this, Evan?
Of course, I want to talk about it also.
Okay, so I think it's pretty creepy here. Peter goes outside. Is it right now? Where he goes outside and they're screaming at her?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, he's like, you'll never be anything. And she's like, I have to go to school.
I do want to say...
That's right now, right?
This is interesting. You see Uncle Ben and Aunt May just being kind of a great parent right before we see what happens to MJ. It's just a good logo.
Yeah, they're just like happy for him. He's like, you got your lunch money and everything.
Yeah.
They're nice parents. But right here, so obviously MJ is being screamed at by her fucking deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
Not deadbeat.
He's not deadbeat. Well, he's an asshole.
But her fucking terrible dad.
Wife beater dad. I think it's implied that he's a wife beater also.
He probably hits MJ too. But anyways, he hears them violently screaming, and he hears like the dad saying terrible things to MJ. And then MJ starts walking down the street like very sad.
Yeah.
And Peter's thinking about like, we should maybe... He's like mumbling to himself like, maybe we should hang out. Like,
yeah.
Like, dude, did you not hear? I almost wish they had changed it to Peter being like, hey, like him saying to himself like, hey, are you like, you okay? Like, you alright?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just feels very like he's not even considering her feelings. He's just kind of like, you want to go out?
I didn't really think about it like that. I don't think it's like that.
I don't think...
Because we see Peter is pretty considerate towards her feelings for most of the movie.
I don't think it's just very abrasive because he's walking outside and he's 1 foot from Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Not literally 1 foot, but maybe like a yard.
Yeah.
He's like 3 feet from Mary Jane and she's being screamed at brutally and she's like clearly like either crying or on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, maybe that's why he stops himself from talking to her. Because she's like, well, she's sad. I don't want to bother her. But, you never know. I just feel like it could have been handled a little differently there.
But I want to say, that scene... So like we said, we see MJ also have daddy issues. And Mary Jane Watson in the Raimi movies, she gets a lot of shit.
From fans, you're saying?
She gets a lot of shit from fans for not being so well written. Just for some of the things she does in...
She's better written than Liz Allen or fucking...
I agree.
What's her name?
Which I'm about to get into.
What's her name? What's the...
Who cares?
What's Zendaya's character?
Who cares?
Michelle. Classic Michelle Jones. Thanks, Marvel.
Yeah, I think a lot of her issue with men that people take problem with in this movie stems from this problem with her father. Maybe I'm wrong. She's very... Like I said, people kind of give her shit for kind of jumping from dude to dude in this movie, which she does.
But she needs a provider.
I think the thing is, like, she's looking for the kind of male figure that she never had in her life.
That's true. That could be, I can see that.
And for the most part, they all are assholes. Except Peter, which we see towards the end of the movie.
PT.
Yeah.
That's how Liz Allen says it in the Spectacular Spider-Man. She says PT. Sorry. Anyways, I could agree with that, and it's interesting that it's interesting too that you have that going on with Mary Jane, and plus Harry. What were we saying about him a moment ago? Where he's kind of shallow.
Well, he's only using her to get back to Peter. This is a very low key thing. So, anyways.
I don't know if that's true.
I think it is. We're gonna get to it, Dylan. I think it's very true.
I don't know if it's 100% true.
It's definitely an aspect of it.
But I was saying he's shallow for some reason. Do you remember why I said that? I guess not wanting.
You say he was being fake.
Not wanting to be seen with his dad, or like being like in the Rolls Royce, like being rich. But anyways, like being rich is kind of like. It's interesting because it's like. He's embarrassed of it, but it's also like his crutch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think that's interesting that you have that going on with Harry, where it feels like an actual human character, and at the same time it kind of also influences Mary Jane's character in a completely different way, where you could have, in a different movie, you could have either of those characters be paper thin.
Yeah.
But in this movie, they're both, like, very informed characters. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Great movie.
It is. It is.
Hell yeah. So we missed a little chunk of the movie there.
Well, I think we can skip ahead a little because I think we've been getting to, like, the nitty-gritty of everything.
Yeah. No, we can catch up real quick. Basically, Peter, he's now sorting out his powers. He accidentally webs a tray. Well, we missed the classic catch the food part.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Mary Jane slips and he catches all the food on the tray, done practically, very famously.
The day after getting bitten, Peter starts discovering powers in school. And there's one part where he first uses his spider sense when Mary Jane slips on the orange juice.
Yeah.
And Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi, they practically did this where he catches all the food on the lunch tray.
Yeah, it was like something like 50 times, I think.
Yeah, it's not 100 and something like people say.
I think it's like 50.
Yeah, it's something less than that. But they used adhesive for this also, which you can actually see on the tray.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, there's adhesive.
I knew there was adhesive, but I didn't know you could really see it. But,
yeah, you have to look. But,
I love the scene here where he fights Flash, because he's starting to use his little goo. He shoots his little goo and he slaps Flash in the back of the head.
It's very quick. They establish all his powers very quickly.
Yeah, because
in this one day, which is awesome.
Because you get the sticky hands, you get the spider sense, you get the webs. I guess you get the super strength, agility.
Yeah,
you really get everything.
When he's fighting Peter, when he's fighting Flash.
I always thought that looked weird. How there's like a web inside razor blades. The fuck is that?
Was there?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
When he first realizes, like, oh, I have spider powers.
Yeah.
And he looks up at the spider, and it's like inside razor blades. I always noticed that ever since I was a little kid. It's weird. It's inside like razor blades.
It is. That's strange. Was it like barbed wire?
Yeah, it's a allegory for if he steps far outside his own boundaries, he could fall into danger.
You're right. It definitely does mean that.
But yeah, this is also very classic, iconic, wonderful looking effect where he climbs up the wall. Mm-hmm. Well, a classic climb up the wall scene. But yeah, this whole day, they do a great job of like just the flow of the movie. Like we get a day of him being normal.
Yeah.
And then we get a certain amount of time where he has the powers, but he's not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, what do you think, just in general, what do you think about the fact that he doesn't have web shooters?
Don't care.
Me either.
Don't care.
Me either.
And I actually kind of like it, too, because it actually does, in my opinion, make it feel more realistic.
I agree, because the thing about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man world, even though there is like crazy technology in it, it doesn't feel as crazy as MCU or TASM.
Yeah, I agree.
So it kind of works.
But it's very, to me, in general, like, I love Spider-Man, of course. It's very unrealistic that a kid would make that.
Yeah, but even just this Peter, Tobey Maguire Peter, he doesn't feel like genius level.
Yeah, he's smart, but he's not Iron Man.
Yeah.
And neither is Tom or Andrew. And, there is the idea of, like, well, no one would have a use for it, because if anyone else swung on it or whatever, they'd break their arm.
Yeah.
But, of course, there's other uses for it other than swinging, so it's like... Because I hear people bring that argument up sometimes, where it's like, well, no one would need it because they don't swing, but... Because they're not, like, super strong and shit, so they couldn't swing on it, but there'd be, like, 1 million military applications for it or whatever, like... It just seems weird to me that he's the only one on the planet that knows how to make it and shit, and he's, like, a 16-year-old.
Yeah, it definitely is weird. But just in general, I don't think... this Peter, he's more very smart in a normal way.
Yeah.
Versus Andrew and Tom.
Yeah.
They establish him more to be smart in a very unrealistic, I guess even comic book
like a
way.
super scientist kind of way.
Yeah.
Which again, a kid shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
I never really liked that. I kind of like the web shooters, I kind of don't, but I think the organic web shooter streamlines it a lot. It's kind of gross though, but it's cool.
And it also works for Sam Raimi, who kind of does the body horror thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It works in that aspect too.
I like this moment here where he comes home and he's late and he's like, oh shit, I had Spider-Man powers. I forgot I had to come paint the kitchen.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the beginning of the great power, great responsibility thing.
I was thinking about that last night. Mm-hmm. Literally, like, this is the first time where you see...
Well, yeah, he kind of ends up slacking off on his chores that he was supposed to do with Uncle Ben. Yeah,
but you know what? He's a good boy. He still takes out the trash here.
He does take out the trash. He was busy goofing off. And I think that's why this is when they start noticing some change with Peter. But then we get that great scene between Peter and MJ out in the backyard.
And they talk.
I think this, like, is this the first conversation they've ever had with each other?
I think so. I don't think they really acknowledge that right here. I feel like maybe they've said things to each other in passing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, what's up? Like,
but it's like the real first human-to-human conversation they've had with each other, which is very interesting to me.
Well, yeah, and also, Mary Jane only likes him when he's a superhero, obviously, already. I want to talk about later, too, when I think maybe she realizes he's Spider-Man. Because you agree with me, right? Like, she doesn't find out when he tells her. She knows before that.
Yeah. At the end of the movie, at the end of part 1.
No.
When she kisses him.
I think she finds out when
the hospital scene?
The upside down kiss. I think she knows then.
That's Peter?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh, we'll talk
and I think
that.
she was fishing. Like, kind of fishing, like, kind of trying to get him to say something about it.
That's interesting.
Because I'm talking about, like, the scene where she's like, well, what did Spider-Man say about me?
Yeah.
I think she knows.
Yeah.
When she's saying that.
That's interesting. I never thought about it like that. But yeah, I think just the backyard scene is great because I feel like it immediately establishes that Peter is genuinely interested in her as a person.
Yeah. And
versus the other men in her life.
Which
is a thing for her character.
Right.
Yeah.
I really love the line, it's playing right now. I cried like a baby when you played Cinderella. Peter, that was in first grade. And he says, well, even so.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's a great...
Yeah, it is. It's
some of the dialogue between them is not great. But that line I think is amazing.
I agree.
Because it's kind of like you're like...
It's cute.
Yeah, it's like... He kind of... It gives off the impression that there's like a... it's like timeless. I don't want to... Timeless isn't the right word because I'm not talking about the movie.
You're talking about his love.
His love is
MJ.
timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
No, I agree.
I don't know. That sounds silly, but...
No,
I agree with
it's
myself.
a real thing. Yeah, it's a real thing. But I said...
And plus, since he's had these feelings since he was like, I don't know, 7.
Yeah.
You get the idea that it's not like, it's not horny, it's not dirty.
No, I think Peter's feelings for her are very genuine.
He
like you
loves
said,
her.
yeah, it's which is kind of weird. The fact that he doesn't really know her too well.
But the fact that also she was like, they kind of know each other. Well, I won't say that he's like in love with her.
Yeah.
But he likes her,
Well, Harry says he's in love with her.
Well, Harry's a whole different guy. Like, Harry's a whole different thing. I don't know.
But yeah, Peter
it
takes some genuine interest in her background.
It's interesting to me, too, where she just seems like she seems like a deeply disturbed human being because of the way that she's having this deep conversation with Peter. And she's clearly, like, still sad from what, like, her parents... And then Flash pulls up with his car and she switches gears immediately. It's kind of, like... I don't want to say it's creepy, but it's...
It feels real to me.
It's disturbing. It's
what
disturbing.
Do you think?
I'm just mean, like, that, you would...
She's probably already been so adjusted to having to do that, I think.
Yeah, because, like, literally she has to deal with so much shit at home.
Yeah.
That she has to switch gears. But it's also interesting, too, that, like, she kind of let herself be herself there with Peter.
Yeah.
Like, and she also knows that, like, he knows the truth. Like, maybe... I don't think Flash or other people would know.
Exactly, yeah.
But Peter obviously definitely knows, and he's probably known for years, so she can be more herself with him.
Yeah, but despite that, he still takes interest in her.
Right.
Which is...
He likes the real her.
Which is a beautiful thing.
What a beautiful relationship.
What a beautiful
If you don't like the MJ Peter relationship, you need to get the fuck out.
I know, that's exactly what I'm saying. People really shit on it, but, like... There's reasons for this shit, okay?
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. You like your little 500 Days of Summer dialogue. You like your little fucking MCU bullshit.
My point is, like, a lot of the way MJ acts is, well, people don't realize that she's probably a very traumatized person.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
People don't acknowledge that. Which is...
Because if her dad,
oversight on
if her
their
dad
part.
is willing to say shit like that, her, like, screaming out the front door, like, imagine what happens behind closed doors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucked. We missed the scene where he designs the costume, which I love.
Needs more color?
Needs more color?
I like that a lot, yeah. So he starts...
He's doing some more experimenting.
Yeah, he decides to sign up for a wrestling match because...
Oh, yeah,
he wants to impress
Flash.
MJ.
He sees Flash flex in the car, and he's like, well,
It's time for me to do that. And thus his Spider-Man origin born. It's funny that he draws, like, the Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
The classic Spider-Man suit, which he uses later in the movie, but his original design is nothing like that.
Yeah, he can't. He's just a little boy. He can't do that.
Yeah.
He can't make that until he earns it karmically.
Yeah.
Right.
He will earn that.
Interesting.
Do you want to just go ahead and skip to him and Uncle Ben riding, or do you want to talk about Norman a little bit more?
Well, we do have the scene. We can talk about our toys. Can we talk about our toys?
Yeah.
Wait, that wasn't that scene? That was like a little tease.
Him doing the stuff though. I have that figure. Him experimenting in his room.
Right.
I have the figure of Peter.
Me and Evan, we like our little old school Raimi figures. Hopefully, with No Way Home releasing, I'm sorry to date this video. It's gonna be timeless other than this line. Yeah. But hopefully they'll release some Marvel Legends like updated Raimi figures.
Yeah.
But me and Evan have some classic Raimi figures. I've been playing with one for like 20 minutes. And they're freaking fantastic. Evan got me the classic Spider-Man 1 suit. I got him, like, Norman out of the costume.
Yeah, with the chair. When he's literally being tortured by the mask of Green Goblin.
That is such a funny figure.
It is. No, it's great. I love that figure so much.
And there's a perfect little place to hang the mask on it. And, like in the movie. It's great.
Yeah, and I also have the figure of Peter in his room when he's testing out his powers before the wrestling match.
Does it come with a classic Dr. Pepper can?
I don't think it does.
Does it come with any can?
I don't think so. No.
The can is like the focal point of the scene. So
yeah, but they probably didn't have probably couldn't make the Dr. Pepper can on the figure.
Well, they could have just made it a can, but that's okay. You know what? That's okay. Mattel from 2002. I'll let it slide. But so we're gonna have to pause. We're gonna have to pause because we're here in the Uncle Ben scene.
Okay, so yeah.
Basically, Uncle Ben is like, "Oh, I've been meaning to talk to Peter, so I'll give him a ride to the library." Little does he know, he's not going to the library.
No.
Peter's lucky that he chose a lie that was close to where he was actually going.
I always thought about that. I was always like, was he like late? Because I'm like, I don't know how far away it was. I just assume it wasn't very far.
I'm assuming he, in case they were going to pick him up or drop him off or something, he chose somewhere nearby. It's cool that there's like an underground wrestling ring across from the library.
I wish that was a thing here.
I fuck with New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this wrestling thing is. It's like the weirdest thing in the world.
Just randos can sign up to fucking wrestle.
Just fight this giant guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's crazy.
But anyway, so Uncle Ben takes Peter to the library. Uncle Ben's kind of like, yo, Peter, what the fuck's been up with you?
Yeah. He's like, what do you think I'm going to turn into some kind of criminal?
Because he's been acting out since he got powers, and he knows that he beat up Flash.
And I really like that conversation, too, where he's like, you know, maybe this Flash character did deserve what happened to him.
But doesn't mean you shouldn't have...
But it doesn't. And I like how it all builds to the line.
Yeah. It comes out so naturally.
The great power line, because he's really just kind of surmising what
he was already telling him.
Summarizing.
Yeah.
He's just summarizing what he was saying to Peter, like, across the whole...
In a very simple way.
The whole conversation. Yeah. Which is great.
So Uncle Ben tells him, with great power comes great responsibility, that iconic line. And is that when Peter literally responds, do you think I'm going to become some kind of criminal?
After great power?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Which is like, oh, Jesus. What a way, like... He acknowledges later, but what a way to throw it right back in Uncle Ben's face.
And I like how this kind of this whole thing is a good like allegory for just manhood in general.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's what Uncle Ben thinks the extent of what he's talking about is.
Oh, he just thinks this like a puberty thing. He doesn't know it's a superpower.
Because like becoming a man is like kind of a great power in itself. But you know, little does he know. But also little does Peter know, because Peter's like, what does he say? He's like, I went through the same thing at your age. And Peter's like,
no,
like,
not exactly.
Not exactly. Yeah. But Uncle Ben, he is wise.
He is.
He is wise, and Peter should have heeded his advice.
He should have.
Oh man.
So yeah, Uncle Ben says that, and then Peter just throws it in his face. And this is when Uncle Ben
later.
Yeah, this when Uncle Ben is like, well, I know I'm not your father. And Peter's like...
Stop pretending to be!
Yeah, which is so fucked up. Like, it really... Like, it hurts me just hearing that.
This whole scene hurts.
Yeah, it really does.
This whole scene hurts.
And then...
Knowing what's coming, this whole scene might hurt more than the actual death.
I agree.
It's painful to watch.
And then Peter...
In a good way.
Peter just walks out on that. Yes, it is in a good way. Peter just walks out, goes and does his wrestling thing. Do you want to talk about the wrestling match?
Of course I do. So, this scene is not crazy from like a story perspective, there's not like a whole lot going on character-wise. It's kind of just a fun scene.
Yeah, from a movie perspective, though, it's a very fun, cool, and funny scene.
It's a great... It's like... It's the first Spider-Man action scene.
Yeah.
Really. And it's not too... The thing is, it's not too flashy either.
No, it's very...
A lot of the fun...
The fight between him and Bonesaw is really quick.
Yeah. But a lot of the fun of the scene is, like, the wacky characters, the energy... it's hilarious the way that Peter's like mad that they got his shitty name wrong. Yeah. It's a great scene.
And his shitty costume. So this is so funny to me when he's behind the shadows. It's weird because I've seen this movie so many times as a kid, I never really thought about it like this. But when he's behind the shadow and before he's revealed to come out and find Bonesaw, you think, oh, they're about to reveal him in his fucking Spider-Man
classic
costume.
Spider-Man costume.
Because you see the outline, like the silhouette. On the, I guess, I don't know, what is it that he's behind?
The curtain.
Yeah, like a curtain. And then it comes out, and he's in a really shitty costume.
It's funny, there's stuff that you don't think about in the present day. Like, for example, I saw a clip like that recently where there was some joke in a movie from, like, 2000.
Yeah.
And you just hear the audience, like, ah! And it's just like, I wouldn't even laugh at that today.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I not that it's not funny, but it's just like, I just know the movie too well.
Yeah.
It wasn't Spider-Man, it was something else, but...
But the fact is, like we were saying, we've seen it so many times since we were children.
You forget what the kind of blockbuster experience was like 20 years ago. It's interesting to think about. Like you said, especially that's a good example of him behind the curtain.
Yeah. And also, Bruce Campbell plays, like, the wrestler announcer or whatever. And he gives Spider-Man his name.
It's really cool. One thing that's really funny to me too is that they kind of lampshade that whole deal. Where in the comics, like, superheroes more or less, like, whether it's implied or not, they kind of just name themselves.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, I guess he's that. But in real life, if you just went out and started beating people in a costume, they'd have to just be like, well, I guess he's like Blue and Red Man or something.
And they do that throughout the whole Raimi trilogy because that's what happens with Doc Ock, with Green Goblin. Like, Jonah.
They don't get to name themselves.
Yeah, Jonah names them.
And it's interesting here though that like they literally distinctly say, like, Peters wants to be called the Human Spider.
Yeah.
And Bruce Campbell say no.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell says no.
Bruce Campbell say, that sucks.
Yeah, which is really funny. Bruce Campbell's fucking awesome. I love him.
I feel like I quote that all the time and I wasn't even thinking about it because sometimes people will tell me an idea and I'll be like, that sucks.
Is that a direct quote? Is that a Spider-Man quote?
I actually think I might have got it from Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, and then he calls him the Amazing Spider-Man. And Bruce Campbell's voice is just so good. The way he says it, it literally gives you goosebumps. And then he comes out in that shitty costume.
Then it shows this child in a sweatsuit.
Yeah, and then he hops in the ring about to fight Bonesaw. He didn't know it was a cage match. It's pretty funny.
I like when the guy says, cage!
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The audience members.
Yeah, they got it.
The audience is funny as hell. They're using the saws on their arms.
They have big cardboard saws cutting their limbs for Bonesaw.
To fight Bonesaw. Played by Macho Man Randy Savage. Rest in peace.
Bonesaw is ready. Terry recognized him last night. She was like, is that Macho Man?
It is.
I was like, hell yeah, you're not kidding.
Rest in peace.
Oh yeah, award-winning actress Octavia Spencer.
Oh yeah.
Is in this scene as well. I love his interaction with her. I love his interaction with Bruce Campbell. I love his interaction with the beautiful women that are like chastising him as he's walking down the aisle.
Before doing the podcast, when I rewatched the movie, I like literally said it out loud when she was like, "May God be with you." I said it with her. I was like, "May God."
She
be
says
with
it
you.
just like that too. She's like, "May God be with you."
Because obviously this is skinny ass nerdy kid.
I'm gonna rip off your limbs one by one.
Oh, and the other wrestler who got thrown out by
my legs.
Like,
oh
my
god,
legs.
I can't feel my legs. Everything in this scene is perfect.
Yeah, it is. The fight. Do you want to talk about that little moment that's known for being problematic now?
The fact that they tricked this child into a cage match.
Cage. Yeah, how come nobody talks about how that's pretty problematic?
That's significantly more problematic. But okay, Twitter.
I guess he signed up for it, so...
He did not sign up for the cage.
Well, yeah, he literally says, I didn't sign up for a cage match.
I didn't sign up for a cage.
Can he sue for this?
Please lock the cage doors at this time.
He might be able to sue for that.
He doesn't have no money to sue.
But hypothetically, if he did. No, he could hit up Norman, because Norman's pretty nice.
Yeah.
At that point, Norman,
they tricked me into a cage match.
Give me some money. But anyways, him and Macho Man Randy Savage follow. And then, this is funny, even though people don't like this joke now because he said, did your husband give it to you? Which implies that being gay is a joke. But the thing is, you automatically... What I love about this line is that you get the fact that now Peter is a completely different person when he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's not that nerdy kid anymore. Now he becomes an asshole.
Yeah.
When he's Spider-Man. He's like, I can say whatever the fuck I want. And, you know, that's the thing about Spider-Man kind of being an asshole to whoever he's up against.
And also, it doesn't give me the impression that Peter's like, oh, gay people dress bad. Or
no,
something.
I don't think that either.
I think what
it's
it is
the fact that
he's trying to make him mad.
It's that, and also the fact that he kind of hypes himself up as, like, obviously being super masculine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So him being like, oh, did your husband make that for you? Kind of knocks him down a peg, you know what I mean? But anyways, the fact is that, yeah, we start getting Peter's, I don't want to say personality change, but he almost does, that's a big part of his character when he's Spider-Man. He can do the things he can't do in Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's able to have his confidence.
Yeah.
And eat it too.
Which we see here. And yeah, he pretty much kicks Bonesaw's ass immediately. Like, Bonesaw hits him with a chair, and then Peter just starts kicking him.
He gets some good hits on him, but, yeah, Peter, like, what is it called? Bicycle kicks him into the fucking wall.
Yeah, and then it's over.
So, yeah, he gets a measly $100 for his takedown of Bonesaw.
That's ridiculous.
When the ad promised $3,000.
$3,000.
So, this guy's a cunt.
He is.
And I guess it's
I
fun.
love his accent, though.
Oh, his little, what is it? Like, is it like a New York accent?
Yeah, he's like, for that, you get 100. And you're lucky to get that.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
So, yeah, so Peter, in his anger, lets a robber get away with,
yeah, someone,
the money.
After Peter's ripped off for his fight,
mm-hmm.
This handsome, iconic man comes in.
I wouldn't say he's handsome, but...
I would say he's handsome and iconic.
He has very noticeably bleached hair.
Yeah. Who does that remind you of?
I don't know.
2/3 of our friend group. Ah.
Andy's hair was pretty blonde like that. But anyways,
I'm joking.
He's not balding like that dude, though. But anyways, Peter lets that guy get away because, well, he was mad.
There's pretty funny memes about that, about, like, the cop being like, what's the matter with you? You let him go. It's like, dude, you're talking to an 18-year-old boy.
No, I thought this was true. I was
you're
like...
You're a uniformed police officer.
You expected this dude to just go out of his way to attack a man with a gun?
Yeah.
No police would say that to you. No police...
No policeman would say that to you. But,
They would tell you that... In this case, we know, because the viewer knows that Peter didn't do the right thing, because obviously he has superpowers. But the policeman doesn't know that.
Yeah.
If he was a normal person... He would have done the right thing by just getting out of the way. I'm sure any police officer would say, yeah, don't
interfere in that. Yeah.
Just get out of the way.
Especially someone that has a fucking gun.
Yes, exactly.
A gun that they just, like, armed robbery with. So Peter goes outside, and his lovely Uncle Ben has been gunned down in cold blood.
Yeah.
It's my uncle!
Oh, this scene is so heartbreaking to me.
It is.
Uncle Ben.
And I really like here, because I was thinking last night, I was like, what do they say to each other here? Nothing.
No, they don't. They really don't. Which feels real. He doesn't give him, like... He didn't give him the great power. They didn't wait till the last moment for him to give him the great power, great responsibility thing. You know
no, if it was that, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be shit. If right here he said with great... Because, like, what the fuck does that mean?
But you know what I mean? In a shitty movie, they would do that. They would
during the death.
Yes. Yeah. In a shitty movie, they would wait till the death to do that. To give them that little moment.
But it doesn't... like you said, it doesn't feel natural. And this right here is maybe my favorite part of the movie.
Just Uncle Ben's death or him...
Uncle Ben's death and then Peter's revenge.
Yeah, okay, so Peter hears that where the robber is at on, like, the police radio or whatever.
It's just fucking epic.
And...
Evan. It's just fucking epic.
It is. Peter goes into costume, his shitty fireman costume, and he runs
the way his beat red, like crying face just turns into determination, and he just rips his shirt off
and anger,
jumps up the building. It's fucking amazing. And then this scene, I don't care about the CGI, Evan. Guess what? I don't care.
No, I actually had something to say about this. I feel like this whole sequence when he's first, like, chasing down the car,
ages a bit better than the rest of the action in the movie.
No,
CGI.
I'm wondering, like, this must be like one of the first, like, completely CGI sequences in, like, a superhero movie.
Or not the entire sequence, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? That sequence where he's running up the building.
There are complete shots of CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just that sequence of him running up there. That's when he goes up the building, because he's very clearly CGI.
I think you're right.
And yeah, the CGI didn't age well, but like we said, this was 20 years ago, so...
I genuinely am not bothered by it for the most part.
Me either.
Especially in this scene. This scene's fucking amazing.
Yeah. And then it does end up looking a lot better when he starts swinging and chasing the car. And I think this is the first time Peter's like swinging building to building like that.
Yeah, it is, because you get the kind of like, you get the parallel
shock in
of
his face.
Well, you get the parallel of earlier when he's like swinging straight at the building,
Yeah.
and then here you get the last second whip to the side.
Yeah,
And then he just kind of keeps that motion and keeps going.
Yeah,
it's very natural.
I love that. I love that little moment.
It's very natural.
When he swings to his side. There, it's funny you brought that up. It just feels so cool. I don't know why.
It does, because like I just said twice in a row, but it's
a natural build.
It feels so natural, and they do a great job too of like, he feels like he's learning, like.
Yes.
He continuously, because you can tell when he's fighting Bonesaw, he kind of wipes the floor with Bonesaw, but he's not perfect.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man and Spider-Man 3 would have destroyed Bonesaw in like 1 second.
Yeah.
Like not even 1 second. You know what I mean? Like.
And it's a very natural way of letting him learn.
Yeah.
Through the story.
And the way he kind of like sloppily jumps over that bridge,
yes,
like he's about to slam into a bridge because he's on top of a car. The way he fucking backflips onto the hood of Uncle Ben's car and slams through it. Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's so good. It's so good. And then he chases, the robber runs up into like a warehouse, something like that. Yeah, an abandoned building. Peter chases him down inside there. I like this sequence a lot because it's all in the dark, and you get a little hint of like Sam Raimi's horror chops here.
This is pretty Batman.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's pretty Batman here.
Which
but I know
like
what you mean too, as well, like with the stalking, like the whole kind of horror aspect of it too. But and also the part where it's about to happen for us right now when the gunman fires into the wall, and Peter kind of like slides down for a moment and slides back up.
Yeah.
In that iconic upside down Spider-Man pose. Great stuff.
I was thinking about that when I was watching it a couple nights ago. It's just like, I think the most of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, Spider-Man 1 has like the most horror type elements in it. Obviously, it's not scary or anything here, but you know what I mean?
A lot of the style...
They bite little, take stylistic moments from like a horror movie. Which I credit to Sam Raimi.
Because obviously once they get into the abandoned warehouse, whatever here...
It kind of lends itself to that perfectly.
It becomes more horror, but the part even when Peter's like angrily like chasing the car, that kind of has like a horror vibe going on.
Yeah,
And of course, like the Green Goblin stuff can be kind of like.
Well, there are jump scares with him like more than once. Yeah.
You can feel that too.
So Peter starts beating the shit out of the robber, and then he realizes, oh, this is the guy I'll let get away.
One part I want to mention. I'm trying not to mention Spider-Man 2 and 3 too much. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to say, I think in Spider-Man 3, when he gets, like, pissed, Peter gets, like, mad at MJ, and he's like, I told you he fell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. About the guy. Yeah, that's funny.
About the guy who shot Uncle Ben, who just, on screen for us, just fell to his demise.
Yeah, Peter starts beating the shit out of him, and he realizes it's him, and then kind of a full circle moment, where it's, oh, shit, I didn't do what I should have done, and now Uncle Ben's dead.
It's kind of weird to me that of course, in anger and grief, you might not be working cognitively. But it's weird to me. It's like, of course, the guy that just ran out with the gun is the guy that shot your uncle outside.
Yeah,
right outside. Yeah. But it's fine. It's fine.
It services.
I always forget that shot's in the movie.
It services the theme
with him sitting on the gargoyle.
Yeah.
I always forget. Sorry.
I should say it's done just to service the theme.
And like in the cinematic way, it works better.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
And then, like I said, it's a full circle.
This actually made me really sad last night when he comes home and tells Aunt May and there's no words exchanged.
No, it's perfect. I actually had a question for you about that little moment, though. Sure. Did Aunt May already know, or did Peter come in and tell her?
I think he just told her.
Because that's what I assume. It seems like she's like, oh, where the fuck are they? Like, it's late. Where are they? It seems like she's waiting for them. And he comes in, and it seems like he very quickly just like, yeah, Uncle Ben... Whatever happened.
Like they shot Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
and then that's probably all he said or something.
And then she just breaks down immediately.
Yeah, because I don't think the police would have got to her by then. Now we get to see. Guess what? We go from a heartbreaking little scene, a great scene of vengeance and terror. We go from that beautiful action scene, and we go to a big fridge, a big fridge in the desert.
Quest making their glider or whatever. It really does look like a fridge.
It's a piece of shit.
Like I said, it looks like. It doesn't look like RoboCop. It looks like a villain from like. You know, like RoboCop 3 has like the big robot in it.
I don't know.
That's what it looks like.
It looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah, and then Norman, knowing that the contract going to Quest, comes in at the Green Goblin. He become insane and he murders all the generals and the guy.
That made me laugh last night. Is like the general who was talking shit to Norman.
He's like, ah!
He's in the bunker and then he's just like screaming at the top of his lungs. That's great.
So yeah, that's the debut of the Green Goblin right there.
Oh yeah. Great debut.
Yeah, him murdering.
Yeah, him murdering. Yeah.
I have a question for you about that.
Please.
Do you think? So we see the glider suit. Did Norman make the helmet, or was the helmet part of the glider suit? It's very creepy if it was part of the glider suit.
I don't think it was part of the glider.
I don't think it is either.
But it is weird because when you first see the glider in the background,
yeah.
like you see earlier in the movie, you see the glider being tested in a non-Green Goblin-y way.
Yeah.
And he kind of has a weird goblin shit on his face, but it's not like a Green Goblin helmet.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
he has like the goggles.
He has like goggles and other like weird mesh thing on his face or something.
Which seems to be the look they're going for in No Way Home. Yeah. Interesting.
You're not kidding?
I thought about that the other night. And then after that, we get the graduation scene. Dylan, I want to ask you something. What do you think about all the green in this movie?
I think...
Because we see in this movie, people are primarily wearing green and blue.
Yeah.
Something I noticed, but I don't know. Do you make anything of that?
There's also, I think... What is it? Norman's office is like all green. There's something. There's a point in the movie where I noticed that the room was basically all green.
Yeah.
I feel like his office isn't all green, but I also feel like
is it the lab where he tests on himself?
Nah, I don't think so. But I do agree. There's a lot of green going on.
Yeah, in the graduation, they're all wearing green. Thanksgiving, they're green and blue. The green and blue thing, which we'll get to.
And can we talk about this? What's going on right now?
Oh, I wanted to. I had a few things to say about the graduation.
We'll pause this real quick.
Yeah.
So we don't get too far.
But anyways, yeah, we get the graduation scene. We see Norman being more of a kind of a shitty dad to Harry.
Oh yeah.
So he comes up to Harry and he's like, look at you. Look who made it. Not the first time I'd be surprised. Which is a horrible thing to say to your son right as he graduated.
Yeah, he's become more of a dickhead, but at the same time, he is nice to Peter.
No, that's the thing. So after that, he just walks up to Peter and he's like, oh, Peter, I know you've been having such a hard time. Oh, congratulations on this science award. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just completely he gives his compliment to Harry is completely backhanded.
Yeah.
And then right after that, he just ignores him and goes and talks to Peter.
Yeah, and then there was a bit of a discourse on Twitter about this.
Is there?
About how... You remember this when people were like... Well...
No, this was from that dumbass Cosmonaut Variety Hour. I don't care about name dropping. Yeah. He was like, oh... James Franco doesn't know what to do, so he just awkwardly walks off the screen. No.
He's like, what the crap is this scene? Harry Osborn... James Franco isn't even a good actor. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
No, like, if your dad was, like, talking shit to you and then is, like, complimenting your friend that he thinks is better than you, of course you're going to walk away.
Yeah, so he just kind of stands there awkwardly because he doesn't know what to do. And then immediately, him walking off leads right to the next scene. So this is, like, we see, he looks like he's about to start crying. And then he sees, right after this, Flash and MJ breaking up.
At graduation, right?
Yeah. And this is what I mean when it seems like part of what's going on between them is Harry kind of getting back at Peter for taking his father's love.
If that is what it is, I don't think Harry's doing it consciously.
No, I don't think it's...
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's not entirely conscious, but it's definitely a thing. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Because the way those moments are placed, it's very intentional.
So basically, if you're not keeping track, and I know listening to Evan Rodriguez and Dylan Baird, talk about Sam Raimi Spider-Man is like, it's like listening to nuclear physicists talk about, the meaning of life. But basically what Evan's saying is Harry feels slighted by Peter, that his dad respects Peter more.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn respects Peter more. So Harry, being a rich, handsome boy, sees the opportunity to take Peter's bitch. Yeah,
so he knows Peter's in love with MJ. He sees that they just broke up, and he's like, well, if you're taking my daddy's love, I'm going to take your girl.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's what ends up happening. But Peter doesn't know this for just a little bit longer.
And I think the fact that they're in the same scene like that,
they're literally moment after moment.
That also lends credence to the idea that it is kind of related.
Yes, exactly.
But I don't, like I said though, I think in the context of the movie, I don't think it's a conscious decision on Harry's part.
No, but it's definitely something he's doing.
Yeah. I agree.
Just to fill that void that he's lacking from his father. Like I said, daddy issues is a thing in this movie.
And maybe I could even see it also being justified as like, well, Peter, you get love. I need some love.
Yeah,
Where's
exactly.
my love? His uncle died, dude. You don't need to do that.
Yeah. But anyway, so...
And also, for the rest of the franchise, Harry's like, my dad is dead. Like, dude, my father figure died like 1 month before yours.
Yeah, well, Harry's just salty about it because,
He's a salty
he never got
dude.
to have... He didn't get that great power, great responsibility moment with Norman like Peter did with Uncle Ben.
Yeah, and he doesn't have no mama either.
Yeah. Yeah, he does not. Anyways, after the scene, Peter comes home, and then we see he's in his bedroom crying
because he missed him a lot today.
Yeah, he missed his Uncle Ben. That is a famous line. I missed him a lot today. It's in a lot of Raimi memes. But this scene's just it's sad to me.
Evan, can we take a quick break, and I want to ask you a question?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Raimi meme?
That's not in my brain right now.
What's your favorite Raimi meme? How do you mean it's not?
I've seen so many. How can I say which one is my favorite?
Not specific. What's your favorite like template? Like which part of the movie is your favorite meme?
That's so hard. I do like them. I don't know if it's because I'm looking at it, but I do like that. I missed them a lot today.
I missed them a lot today. That's a good answer.
Because I was like, wrestling.
Hoffman memes was really funny to me.
Hoffman is funny.
That guy.
Hoffman's
like there's an account called Hoffman memes.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that was really funny.
I think he's inactive now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, God rest his soul.
Shout out to you though, bro.
God rest your soul,
listening.
Hoffman memes. I hope you're watching this one day.
Yeah, a lot of those accounts went inactive.
I wonder why.
All the Norman memes are pretty funny. I like all the
the scientist. I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That's kind of
no, not even that. That one's a bit overplayed. Just in general, the Norman memes.
Well, I was gonna say that was like an old one.
Yeah.
So I can, it's been kind of done to death, but Spider-Man.
What about you?
What's my favorite meme? I kind of like the Spider-Man 3 one.
They Love Me?
No, I like that one too, though.
Oh.
I like Everything.
What does
that mean to you? Everything.
Okay. I was like, you meant like you love every moment.
No. I like when Black Suit Spider-Man says everything. That's funny.
That is funny. I agree.
Cool, very funny, very cool movies, and I think what makes them really funny is that they're earnest.
I agree.
I genuinely think that's why I think because you don't see I don't know, like Far From Home memes.
Why would you?
You know,
not funny.
I'm saying like. It's not funny, but it's like it's also.
It's not funny in a natural way because it's trying to be funny.
That's what I'm saying. It's trying to be funny, and it's also not funny. Like
yeah.
So a movie like this, where it's like it's just an earnest movie, and the comedy comes from like the more human moments.
Yes.
Like it's funny that when Peter screams everything because it's so like he's so tortured in that moment that it's funny. It's like relatable too, and it reminds me of like. There were so many parodies of The Dark Knight, and I remember thinking, it lends itself to that because they're so serious, they're like self-serious, and they take themselves very seriously and they're earnest. And I think the same thing happened with Thanos, at least with Infinity War.
Yeah.
It's like it's easier, not easier, but it's like
it's funnier when you're not trying to be funny.
It's funny to make fun of shit that's self-serious.
Yeah, like, I was gonna say, well, it's not that these movies because these movies are goofy. They are trying to be funny, but it's not. In a way, the MCU is. They're not trying
to be funny in such a way that it makes fun of itself or diminishes itself.
Yes.
Like they're funny.
It's
like
not self-deprecating.
Yeah, it's not self-deprecating, which I respect. Like, there's a wonderful bald-headed man named Ed Piskor. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
I don't.
He's a comic book pro.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned him on.
Actually,
here.
yeah, you have mentioned him.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool freaking
I think
guy.
in the Crow episode.
And I was watching his episode on him and Jim Rugg on Comic Book Kayfabe, I think it's called.
Yeah, it was definitely the Crow episode.
And they're great. He mentioned about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were talking about how the old comics were like they were great because they weren't self-referential, they weren't ironic. And in that video, Ed Piskor says like, "I don't have time for ironic shit. Like, miss me with that. I don't have time for it." I completely fucking agree. And I agree. I think most Marvel movies, most MCU movies, I think they are ironic.
Yeah, and that's why not funny.
Like they're cynical and they're ironic and they're.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, fuck that. Fuck that. Sam Raimi Chad all day.
I agree. I agree with you.
All right.
That was a little good moment, Dylan. Maybe the memes conversation led to a little pretty good conversation.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think about that. It's cool. It's a cool...
There is a reason it had... The Raimi memes has its own little subculture.
Yeah, there definitely is. And we kind of mentioned that kind of thing with Shrek when we talked to the Shrek episode.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Of course, that movie's like straight up a comedy. It's for kids, but it's like it tried something.
Yeah, and it's similar here to what you were saying because you said about Shrek, like, oh, it's the fact that Shrek is kind of relatable.
Yeah.
And it's the same here. It's the human moments that are funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
I just like I always had this weird backdoor way into that kind of school of thought about specifically The Dark Knight. Like, I don't know. That's why the Joker's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Thanos is so funny, because they, all that shit. Anyways, I think we can continue.
Okay.
Let's continue in the film.
So, Peter's crying because he misses Uncle Ben.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. You got anything to say about this scene?
I do, actually. I wanted to mention this quick little bit. I really like what Aunt May says to Peter here at the end.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a really nice moment. So, yeah, Peter's crying in his room after graduation. He says, I miss him a lot today.
Yeah.
Aunt May takes a little seat. She says, move the leg. No, she doesn't say that. Basically, right here, she says, he never doubted the man you would become.
Yes.
And I find it really touching when someone, you have a loved one that died or something, and someone's able to convey kind of their feelings. It does also raise the question, like, is she just lying, or is she kind of...
No, I don't think she is.
Well, I don't mean in this sense of like a plot way or whatever, but in like a human way. Like, if any person did this to any other person, it's like, are they lying? You know what I mean?
No, I don't think
not lying, but
just saying it to make him feel better.
Just saying it to make him feel better.
No, what she says though, it's just like, yeah, Uncle Ben loved you, and there's no way you could disappoint him. That feels genuine to me. I don't know.
I was just thinking about it.
It just seems. I don't know. I would say that's genuine.
Uncle
Ben knew that Peter wasn't being an asshole.
Let me say this.
He wouldn't disappoint him because he knew that Peter was going through some shit.
I would never doubt Aunt May.
I don't like this, Dylan.
I would never doubt Aunt May, but it is like what I was getting to was like, when it is someone that's like Aunt May and Uncle Ben, like they're the only two people in their lives, like,
yeah,
it's them and Peter, so that kind of gets rid of any doubt that she would be kind of embellishing, but it doesn't quite track, because the last thing that Uncle Ben did was question Peter, but
I can see what you mean.
I think ultimately though,
I said, that's kind of going off what I was saying though. It's just that Uncle Ben, he didn't doubt Peter. He wasn't disappointed by him. He just knew that he was going through some shit.
He was kind of keeping up with him.
Yeah, because like Uncle Ben said, well, I've been there too. He knew that, this is a part of you growing up. Right. Whatever's happening with you right now.
That makes sense. But ultimately, all I wanted to mention there too is like what I'm very touched by what Aunt May says, and it's very cute when it kind of gives you solace forever.
Yeah.
Like when someone says something like that to you, it's like, well, you wouldn't, you won't disappoint me.
Yeah.
Because it puts all the weight on you, but it also gives you kind of the affirmation of like, this is what they would expect. I don't know. It's a good line.
Yeah.
It's a good part.
And also, there's something I thought about though when I watched this movie. The fact that he's lying to Aunt May, it doesn't come up until part 2. You know what I mean? The fact that Peter's kind of guilty or responsible for what happened to Uncle Ben. I wouldn't say he's responsible, but like,
he's involved.
Yeah.
He's not involved.
Yeah. That doesn't even come up until part 2. I don't know. I just thought that was a little interesting. The reason I'm kind of saying this is just like, I wonder if that was in the back of Peter's mind when Aunt May was saying this to him, like, oh, you don't even know what actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which they don't expand on that too much in this movie because, like I said, it's a part of
that. Also interested me too because they like he slowly admits to more as the movies go on.
Yeah,
he admits to more in 2 and then more in 3.
Yes.
But I wanted to mention too. I love the. Was that the first? Was that the first montage of Spider-Man doing stuff?
Yeah. So,
great scene
for Peter. The kind of logical conclusion after what happened, after what Uncle Ben told him, and then after Uncle Ben's death, is like, okay, well, I have this power, and I saw what happened to Uncle Ben, so I need to prevent any other Uncle Bens from happening.
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Ben, the last thing Uncle Ben said was like, just because you can beat people up doesn't mean you should. And then he goes and beats people up for a while.
But,
no, he's like, stopping active crime.
Yeah.
It's okay.
In my mind, it's just, I never really thought about it like that. I was like, I never thought about it in the sense that it's like, oh, him becoming a superhero is a very direct response to what happened to Uncle Ben. If that makes sense.
And also he takes the human spider outfit and looks at it after what Aunt May says.
Yeah,
So it's clearly he's reflecting on like, well, he didn't know I was like had spider powers or whatever, but he told me to use my power for something good. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I knew like what I mean is like, yeah, I knew he was becoming Spider-Man because of that message, but I never thought about it in the sense it's like, well, Uncle Ben also died because of criminals, so I gotta stop criminals. You know what I mean?
That always made sense to me because of Batman.
Yeah,
And that's something people bring up all the time is like, it's even in like dialogue sometimes where Batman's like, I needed to make sure that little boy would never...
Yeah.
That would never happen to another little boy.
Yeah, like, there's nothing in Peter prior to that indicates, like, oh, he has a need to stop criminals. You know what I mean? So, like, him becoming a superhero is very, very directly a response to what happened to Uncle Ben.
Yes, Enrique, I get you. Sorry.
I felt like you were shouting at me.
No, it was from the classic moment in the movie we're watching. Sorry, I interrupted you completely. But...
Oh, no, that's pretty much the end of my thought.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, it's very much... It's driven by Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
completely. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you want to talk about that sequence where he's Spider-Man?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it also... The ending... The part in the ending when the New Yorkers come and help him is a bit cheesy, but it feels kind of earned. Because it feels like... even the people that don't quite like Spider-Man, he stinks, I don't like him.
Jim Norton.
Even though the...
Classic comedian Jim Norton.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Oh. The bald guy. He stinks.
He stinks, and I don't like him. That guy's probably a criminal. But anyways... I love that because... Like, New York has a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Like, he's out there doing so much shit, helping so many people that he's just, like... He's become...
Yeah, I love that it's a montage.
Yeah.
Just, like, quickly get him into the life, you know what I mean?
I'm thinking about something in photography. Cheese.
I just want to say, yeah, like you said, all the cameos and stuff and the people's thoughts on Spider-Man. It's just a very quick and fast way to establish him as a known superhero in the city. And then we get Jonah.
It doesn't even feel like
Jonah's
he's a superhero.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, vigilante or whatever.
Well, no, I'm not saying like he hasn't beat his first big bad yet. He's not a superhero. No, I'm saying like it feels more like they're reacting to like an urban legend, or like a celebrity, or like a performance artist. Like a performance artist is probably the best example out of those. Like it feels like they're reacting to this anomaly. Not really a superhero, which I like.
I agree.
It's more of a like real kind of response, even though they're all very cartoony and whatever. But
and then you get Jonah, his first introduction before what we're looking at. His first introduction, where he's like, "Yeah, this dude's a menace."
His introduction was earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, after the montage.
Right.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, this dude's a menace." I think when we got Robbie and Hoffman's intros also, which are pretty funny.
Legends.
But
God rest his soul.
Yeah, Robbie, rest in peace.
God rest his soul.
Rest in peace. And
God,
I guess we can skip ahead a bit.
No, we talk about Betty Brant.
Oh no, not from here. I mean, after that. Well, we see also now Peter's living in the city with Harry.
Oh right,
they have an apartment together that Norman got for them. So they're more the fatherly thing.
And
for
in that
Peter
scene,
and Norman.
I think Harry now understands that Peter knows about MJ because MJ and Harry have started dating.
Yeah, and Peter sees MJ in the street, and when he realizes, because she didn't really lie to him, but she's kind of hiding the fact that she's working in a diner.
Yeah, she wants to make her own money, which I respect, MJ. She didn't make an OnlyFans. She's out there working a real job, isn't she?
But, she's like she's not saying the acting thing's working out, but she's kind of like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing the acting thing.
But it comes off a little like she's not being vain.
Yeah.
She also doesn't want Peter to tell Harry.
Yeah, And which is when Peter finds out that, you're dating Harry.
Yeah, she also doesn't know that Peter doesn't know.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of doesn't knows, but that's when she Peter literally finds out from that
Harry's dating MJ.
So I guess that does indicate too that like maybe it was subconscious and Harry was like, oh shit, like I took his girl.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna tell him.
Yeah.
It was a conscious decision not to tell him. Because that's like your best
he doesn't
friend.
rub it in his face.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But yeah, that little moment after you see her in the restaurant, though, is good because it's more of just building on the thing where it's, oh, well, I can be genuine with Peter. I can't with Harry, but I can with Peter.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very
she's
true.
like, yeah, I'm working this restaurant. I'm not going to tell Harry that, but I can tell you, Peter.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
That links up too with what we were saying about like Flash earlier in the car.
Yeah.
And like the thing with Peter, like living next to her, he knew about her parents and everything. That's interesting. Yeah, if you're a dissenter about MJ Peter, you're an idiot. You're stupid. You're dementia ridden. You are decrepit.
Well, I will say it is kind of like it does feel like kind of a friend zone type thing. Like, oh yeah, I can tell you anything, Peter.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying, like, I can see where it doesn't like feel like it, but it can be read that way, I suppose. And then but because of that, she kind of starts falling for Peter.
Yeah, it's the most intimate. It's the most intimate relationship that she really has.
Yeah, precisely, Dylan. Well, Peter decides to become a photographer to make some money, because he got fired by Kirk Connors. Interesting, Kirk Connors comes back in part 2.
And part 3.
I always wonder, was that like, what's the word? When you go back on something.
A retcon?
Yeah, was that a retcon? The way they bring up Kirk Connors here?
It is weird. Do you want to pause for just
a
moment? Because we're already behind on where we are with the movie. That's funny because Endgame we were kind of just like, oh, keep going, whatever, keep going. But this, like, we have to keep going back. You know, we have to let it settle. We have to let it simmer. So it does kind of feel like a retcon because in this he's out of high school and he's interning.
Yeah.
Is he interning or he has a job?
They don't really say like.
Can you get fired from an internship? I guess you can.
It was a job. It could be a paid internship, but he's like working at a lab, I guess.
I guess he does seem to have a more personal relationship than he would with like a average student with Peter.
In part 2. Yeah,
and but if we're like as well.
It's if we're like, oh, I worked with you and now you're my professor.
Feels like backwards.
Yeah,
it feels backwards. Yeah.
Because Spider-Man 2, it takes place either a year or two after part 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it does feel backwards. So I'm like, is that a retcon? I don't really know. It doesn't matter at all, but
I don't think it necessarily has to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe not.
It just feels a bit weird.
Raimi continuity is quite fun.
Yeah, it is. But he picks up photography after that. He's like, well, I'm Spider-Man. I can pick up a job doing photography, just taking pictures of myself and selling it to the Bugle. And you got some funny moments with Jonah and Peter. I don't want to linger on that too much because
I did want to mention
it speaks for itself.
This dude Peter gets a little too big for his britches.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he does. Because she doesn't give a fuck about him at all.
Well, because she's nice to him, of course.
Yeah.
Like, just, nice.
But she brushes him off.
She's like, oh, welcome to the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Daily Bugle.
Yeah, welcome to Daily Bugle.
I had, like, an aneurysm. Where I was, like, fighting saying Daily Planet.
DC Brain.
I was fighting saying
DC Brain.
Based Alpha Brain. But, yeah, I like how he just kind of... he just takes it to I don't know.
Too literally almost?
Not too literally, but she like
he's like, yeah, I'm a photographer.
Yeah, I'm a photographer.
And she's like, I can see that.
It's funny.
It's just funny.
It's funny.
But she writes his first big boy check for him. What's her name?
She's from Power Rangers, right?
Yeah.
She's most known for Power Rangers, I think.
Yeah, definitely most known for Power Rangers. I can't remember her name right now. But it is her.
She's a beautiful, wonderful actress.
She's beautiful.
Who's the best waifu in the movie?
The best waifu? MJ. Definitely.
Okay, what about in all the Raimi movies?
Well, yeah, I know what you want me to say. I'm not going to talk about it until part 2. I'm not talking.
Part 2?
Yeah.
What?
Mr. Digovich's daughter.
No.
She's the best waifu.
No,
Ariel.
The best waifu is the tour guide in the spider house.
That's stupid.
No, the best waifu is MJ, obviously.
No, it's Ariel. Spider-Man 2. But we'll save that.
Anywho, it's She-Venom in Venom.
She-Venom in Venom, yeah, that counts. Anyways,
Oh, I meant to say this when you got here.
Yeah.
Bike Messenger, knock me down.
You know, someone made that same exact joke to me like 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah, they did.
Oh.
So you're
Who?
like my friend Kevin.
Oh, Kevin's based.
Shout out to you, Kevin. He listens to the podcast. So
oh, Kevin! Thanks for listening. If you're listening to this,
shout out to you, bro.
We both make great jokes, I guess. So that's awesome. So we moving on from the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, because I feel like that scene speaks for itself at the viewer.
Yeah, it's a funny little scene.
Funny with J.K. Simmons and Jonah. We already praised him earlier, so. But then we get the parade scene.
Epic.
Amazing.
Epic scene.
So, how do you want to start out talking about this scene?
It's cool. It's epic. It's I remember I had a thought about this, or actually, no, it might have been the board scene.
Yeah, we should talk about the board scene before we talk about the parade.
Well, I don't think there's too much to say here, but obviously,
there's some funny memes from it though.
Obviously, Norman's reaction is great.
Yeah, he's saying, "You can't do this to me." That's a very good one.
Do this to me.
Yeah, that's a good one. And
I built this company. I like how he gets loud.
It's a small scene, but yeah, it's relevant. That's irrelevant.
It's relevant.
It's relevant because this is when...
You know how much I sacrificed.
This is when he decides to suit up as the Green Goblin and murder more people. Because the board members fire him, and he's like, yeah, I'm taking my position back.
It never stops, does it, Norman? Your ambition.
No, it doesn't. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. He's very overly ambitious.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention...
that comes up later, too.
You mentioned kind of I don't know if it was a plot hole or what. It was basically like... That looks like a meme right there, even though it's not, doesn't it? It's like the gentleman holding the cup, snootily. What were we talking about Harry? Mm-hmm. Harry shows up for the World, what is it called? World Unity Festival?
Yeah, something like that. Or the Oscorp Unity Festival.
World Unity Festival,
yeah.
I think it's called, or something. Anyways, it's like basically an Oscorp event, and Harry shows up for it with the board members. And he's like, "Where's my dad?" But
I wouldn't say it's a plot hole
in this scene. Well, it's maybe,
I didn't say it was a plot hole.
It's maybe like a discrepancy.
It's just interesting.
Or something. No, but the thing is, in this scene, they actually explain that.
Oh yeah, you're right. They say we're going to announce your firing in 2 weeks.
We're going to announce the merger after the World Unity Festival.
Yeah.
They say specifically.
Okay, it was not 2 weeks.
So
yeah,
that's why Harry wouldn't know.
Yeah, but it's interesting that Norman didn't say anything to him.
Well, of course he wouldn't. He's a very prideful man.
Yeah.
Sense. He wouldn't tell us. He wouldn't say, like, my job's on the line, Harry.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right. It makes sense with who Norman is and his relationship with Harry. He don't want to tell
And plus
him that.
there's, like, the whole goblin element. He's not going to mention that.
Yeah.
Which is, like, at the end of the movie, he obviously doesn't want Harry to know anything about that. Which is interesting that he feels, like, so above his son, but he also doesn't want his son to, like, see his faults.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense, though, I think.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. I'm just saying it's interesting. It's, like, it's consistent as well.
And so after the board scene, we see...
I like how, too, like, the goblin at the end of that scene kind of takes over.
Yeah, he's
like...
Am I?
Once he's kind of freaking out and he's screaming, and then he becomes more like... He's like, and he, like, has a little smirk on his face.
Yeah, and he has the saliva, like, the drool on the side of his mouth. That's funny. But yeah, so Peter goes to the World Unity Festival.
Classic. Macy Gray.
Macy Gray is singing here.
You are so mad at me.
Macy Gray. Dylan, do you have anything to say about...
Oh, what a fantastic performance.
Yeah, about
Macy Gray. God rest her soul.
God rest her soul. She's very much alive.
Jesus, I love you, Macy Gray.
Macy Gray is awesome.
Oh my goodness. I hope, honest to God, if there's a Spider-Man 4, Macy Gray. Front and center. Put her front and center.
I agree.
I want the Raimi universe where she's like the Oprah of the, like, she's like the most famous woman in the world.
We need that.
Yeah,
because it was already implied. Like, she's already more famous in this movie than she is in real life. So, but that's not any disrespect on my end.
Oh no,
I love you, Macy Gray.
No, you're underrated.
Yeah, you're very underrated.
In fact, I'm gonna add your shit on my Spotify after this video.
Yeah. So Peter's taking pictures at the World Unity Festival, and Harry sees Peter there, and he sees him with MJ.
Yeah, and then once Harry realizes Peter's there, he's like, "Let's go inside."
Yeah. There's also a little interesting moment before that.
The dress?
Yes.
Okay.
Where he's like, "Oh, why didn't you wear the black one? You know, my father would like that." Well, there you go. There's Harry kind of using MJ to impress his father.
Yeah.
So that's another element. Not just getting back at Peter, but that's also another element. It's like, oh, I want to look good for my dad.
Yeah.
Which is, again, kind of taking away from Peter because you're like, oh yeah, Norman, you love Peter. Why don't you love me? Maybe you'll love me a bit more if I have
his girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. And that's interesting. I didn't think about it like that either. It's almost kind of him trying to become Peter.
Yeah, like
in that way. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, look, I have a thing Peter like not has, but kind of something Peter would or could have, or something, some element of that.
I didn't even think about it like that. See, I mostly thought about it as like a getting back at Peter thing, but it's also if I have MJ, I'll be closer to being like Peter.
Yeah,
which it feels even weirder, I think.
I feel like that it makes sense though.
No, it does. It does.
That makes sense.
Like you said, it's a very subconscious thing. That's not something he would be like think in my mind. Oh, I need to become Peter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
he's not like putting moles on his face or whatever.
But I just love little genius details like that. Yes, genius. I love you.
Oh
Sam
yes,
Raimi.
genius is not hyperbole, my friend.
But I'm serious. Just little character moments like that are awesome.
I love seeing Spider-Man and superheroes in general use their powers out of costume.
Yeah. So
once Goblin throws his first pumpkin bomb, everything starts crumbling on the side of that one building.
Yeah.
And Peter webs 2 people out of the way.
There is a pretty funny
rubble.
One of my favorite memes here. If when the bomb literally disintegrates the board members.
Into skeletons.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Into Disney skeletons.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
So yeah, Green Goblin murders them. Peter's there, suits up as Spider-Man, and they had their first battle, you may say.
Oh yeah, and Harry's knocked out instantly.
Yeah.
Hello, my dear.
Green Goblin creeps up on MJ.
Spider-Man! I love that.
Me too.
I fucking love that. I've seen a video where someone was like, the Raimi actors are bad.
I'm pretty sure that's the same person we were talking about before.
Onslaught or whatever?
No, Cosmonaut.
Right. Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit what his name is? It's like, yeah, this girl's overacting. Like, dude, you are a fucking idiot. Like, there's no saving you. Go to idiot school. Go get a, like, fucking $8 an hour job. Like, you're done.
I agree.
Because I want to sample that. I want to make a rap song and put, it's Spider-Man!
That would be awesome.
That's fire.
That would be awesome.
That's fire. But I love how Goblin's just working through the cops.
No, it is awesome, yeah. So
impressive!
Spider-Man and Green Goblin, they start having their first duel. And Green Goblin sends him fucking flying.
I love how he hits him so hard that he goes straight in the line and then still, like, completely destroys the light post.
We also get, like, I think...
That's epic.
It's either this or X-Men, the OG Stan Lee cameo.
It must have been X-Men.
I wasn't sure if... Is he in X-Men Part 1? He probably is. But the point is, I miss these Stan Lee cameos prior to the MCU, and they're just so subtle.
I don't like this one.
Really?
This one sucks.
I like it because it actually feels like
a cameo.
Oh, you have to point out and be like,
a cameo.
That's Stan Lee.
I'm like, hey, did you know Stan Lee's in this?
Versus in the MCU where they always draw attention to it.
But of course they give him more and more of a role because, like, it just makes sense for them to give him more.
Yeah.
Like, the novelty wears off of just seeing him in the background.
Yeah.
In this movie, I don't like it because it is so overplayed. And it's like, he's literally just walking for, like, one fraction of a second.
No, he's not walking. He's, like, freaking out whenever...
Well, yeah, he's reacting.
Like...
He's reacting and... Yeah. Evan did a silly little cartoon face.
I did Stan Lee's face.
We'll meet again, Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man and Green Goblin fight. It's pretty cool. Green Goblin flies away.
That's maybe the worst action scene, I think. I don't think it's bad, but it's my least favorite, probably. Like, because what do you have? Like, you have... like, the kind of montage stuff.
Yeah.
You have, I wouldn't call, like, Goblin storming the Bugle an action scene. There's really, like, the human spider, their first fight at the parade.
Yeah.
And then the end fight.
Yeah, and the montage stuff.
And the montage stuff.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the weakest one.
I don't know, the parade scene is great. Oh, I really love it.
I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not, Evan. I'm not.
Just because, like... When Goblin pulls up and blows up the board members, it's just so fucking funny.
It is amazing, and also like just like Spider-Man running away from the
yeah, you got the thick Goblin there.
The thick Goblin as acknowledged by Grace Randolph.
Yeah, you got the thick Goblin.
God, he has such a big fat fucking.
It's a little too thick. I'm being honest. It's a little too thick. I don't like it.
Someone had a diaper fetish on Raimi Spider-Man set. They said this is part of the costume, dude.
Yeah, like, you been over here. Like when I see that scene now, I can't not look at it. I'm serious. Is it that way for you?
I never noticed it before.
Me either.
I don't know. I didn't know. I actually didn't look at it last night.
Okay, that's what I mean.
I didn't think about it.
No, when that part came, I knew immediately. I was like, I can't not look. Yeah.
You're like, it's time. You couldn't wait for the Goblin.
Yeah, but also after the parade, we get our first Spider-Man and MJ moment.
Oh.
Because Spider-Man saves MJ, and like you said,
has to use the elevator.
Yeah. He swings over there. It's very quick. He's just like, I don't know. What does he say to her?
When he first saves her?
When he like drops her down.
Yeah, he says, don't mind us. She just has to use the elevator.
Yeah.
And then she says, who are you? And he says,
you know who I am.
You know who I am. I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And then he screams at the top of his lungs.
Little situational. Is that situational irony?
That's
we discussed this.
That's also why I think
dramatic irony.
We're gonna get to it soon, but the neighborhood thing actually ties into why I think she knows.
I've never thought about it like that. You may be right.
Because when we get to the upside down kiss soon, we'll talk about that. So yeah, now we have schizophrenia.
Well, yeah, after
burning into Norman's little brain.
After the parade, we see. Well, Peter knows now, and Harry's like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of hiding that from you." But he's like, you never made a move. That's his excuse to Peter. It's like, well, you never made a move, and I'm crazy about her, bro. What implied that you were crazy about her?
You really aren't.
Yeah. No, you're just doing this because you need your daddy's attention. But anyways.
Harry, SMH.
Yeah, Harry, SMH. But I like that Peter has that little moment there because Harry's talking to MJ, and MJ's like saying, "Oh, he was so awesome, fireman, whatever." And Peter's like grinning in the back.
Yeah, he's smirking. He has a little smile on his head.
I really like that.
Yeah, he says, "What do you mean amazing?"
Yeah. That's a really good moment. And after that, we get I fucking love this scene. So this is when Norman kind of finally realizes. I guess it's like prior to this, it's been like blacking out when he turns into the Goblin.
I think now it's becoming like a conscious thing.
Yeah. So we have that mirror scene. Oh, this is so good. This scene.
Just the way they play it, right? Like you're talking about like the way he rolls around and it switches to the mirror perspective and stuff. Yeah.
Norman talking to himself. The way it's shot and just Willem Dafoe's performance, how he's going into Green Goblin, going back to Norman, going back to Green Goblin.
I think it's practical.
No, it is. I remember, I don't know if I saw this interview where Willem Dafoe, it's like one of those...
Not even...
Variety.
Sorry, I don't mean it exactly practical, but I mean like in camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe had that interview with Variety. They have this like segment where actors like break down their famous roles or whatever. Have you seen that?
They have a segment where they break down the greatest superhero movie of all time, Spider-Man 1.
Yes, they do that.
Yeah, they do that, yeah. Right.
But, Norman, I literally call him Norman. Willem Dafoe talks about that scene specifically. He was like, "Oh, that scene was like a lot of fun to do because I had to keep switching back."
Seems like an actor's dream.
Yeah, I had to keep switching back between two roles.
There is specifically like one shot where it's like,
it's behind the camera's behind him, and you only see his face from the mirror.
And then his face rolls around and it becomes Norman.
Yeah,
and he's kind of talking to himself. It's great.
It's just interesting because it's like you really almost do have two characters there. The one we see from behind is Norman, and then the one in the mirror is the Green Goblin.
Right.
And I don't know, that's just so awesome to me. And the Green Goblin tells Norman, "Yeah, we did this. Yeah. We're the one committing these fucking murders."
Yeah, it's kind of, like we said, I guess, it's the moment where...
It becomes conscious.
Yeah. He realized that he is, in fact, the Green Goblin. And can I mention a cool Lego fact?
Yeah.
Cool Lego fact for this episode. When Spider-Man webs Jonah's mouth there, there's a reference to that in the Daily Bugle set, the Daily Bugle Lego set.
The new one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Because you know how Legos now, like if they have hair, they have an alternate face when you turn the head around?
Yeah.
His alternate face is the webbed mouth.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank you, Lego.
Thank you, Lego. And thank you to that designer. The designer's actually very based.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about him, but anyways, I also, of course, wanted to mention the J.K. Simmons thing there, the J. Jonah Jameson thing.
Oh, yeah. So, just before that, Green Goblin's like, well, I had to find out who Spider-Man is because he's the only one who can stop us from doing our thing. So he goes in
from just killing indiscriminately, I guess.
He pulls up on Jonah to find out who the photographer is so he can get closer to
Who's the photographer that takes a picture of Spider-Man?
And then this is a famous moment within the Raimi community. Jonah doesn't sell out Peter. It's a very human moment.
That always touched my heart.
Yeah.
From when I was a little boy, that always touched my heart. I was like, because I always like that character that's like, he's like kind of gruff and he's kind of mean, but he has like a soft spot. Yeah. He's actually like nice underneath.
It's like he's playing a character.
It's badass.
He's playing a character, but he's a human there.
Well, he has to get shit done. He's a working man. He has to get shit done. But when it comes down to it, he saves him.
Somebody recently kind of ruined that moment for me. Maybe not, because I don't know what the intention was there. But I was watching New Rockstar's video on Spider-Man 1.
Thanks for mentioning New Rockstar's 2 videos in a row, Evan. Great.
I was watching their video on it, and what they said was like, well, the reason that Jonah doesn't sell Peter, is because he doesn't want to lose his access to the good pictures. Not because he doesn't want to sell out Peter.
I think that's bullshit.
If Peter's gone,
I think that's bullshit.
I don't know. I'm just saying. When I thought about it like that, I'm like, that does sound like Jonah.
It kind of does, but at the same time... And he also knows that Peter's right behind him.
Yeah.
Or he's still in the building at the very least. But I think that's bullshit because I thought you were gonna say like because there's newspapers that say picture by Peter Parker.
That comes later, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of what is it later in this movie or no?
I'm saying, is it when we see the newspapers later, or is it before this? I don't know. But anyways, I know exactly what you're
that's
talking
just
about.
a silly little thing. But
That is a plot hole. That is something I had to take a little dig at the movie for. That is a plot hole.
Does that happen in the and especially because he knows him personally?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is a little plot hole in the movie, but whatever.
Does that happen before or after Norman's death? Does it? I don't know.
No, I'm not saying before or after the death. I'm saying it might happen after he attacks the Bugle, but I don't think it does.
I don't know.
Either way, it wouldn't matter because it'd be like, yeah, you're still doing that thing.
Well, whatever.
It's a little dig at the movie, but it was an oversight.
The thing about Jonah, I think, is like, living, because Green Goblin is clearly an evil maniac.
Yeah.
If you don't tell him what he wants to know, he's very, very likely to kill you.
Yeah.
And being that he is the editor of the newspaper, he knows that.
Yeah.
So I think in that moment he's more worried about his own life than
or isn't because he still doesn't sell them out.
Yeah, he like that's what I'm saying. Like I think maybe he's considering it a win-win.
He kept his journalistic integrity.
Yeah, exactly.
He did what an ethical journalist would do and not sell out your source.
Yeah, Goblin calls him slime, but guess what? That's because he's a fucking 1%er.
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson is out here fucking exposing all of you. Did you know Norman Osborn was spotted at
on Jeffrey Epstein's island? He was on the flight list.
I was gonna say that weird owl cult. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called though.
I wish I knew that.
I thought you were gonna say he has like a picture with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, he has a picture with Jeffy Epi.
He might. You never know.
I think if I had to bet, oh my god, if we met Sam Raimi, we would have to ask him that. If I could ask him one question, I would say, in your universe, would Norman Osborn have like just a picture? Yeah. Just a picture with Jeffy Epi. And Sam Raimi would probably tell me to get fucked. He'd probably tell me to get fucked.
No, he wouldn't.
Sam
Sam loves his fans.
No, he does. He really does love and respect his fans. But yeah, I just wanted to defend Jonah there because I think it's a nice character moment, and I like to just give him the benefit of the doubt.
I should do that.
Yeah,
I just heard that. I was like, oh damn.
I don't buy that.
This kind of sounds like a Jonah thing.
I don't buy it.
But like you said, the fact that it was like, oh, he could have died here. Well, would that really matter? If you care that much about money, you're gonna be like, yeah, I want to save my life.
Yeah, because then you don't get no money for dead. So I think it could go either way, and I think I've made my case good enough for us to move on.
Like you said, win-win.
Win-win. Either die or stay rich.
Yeah.
So cool.
But Spider-Man shows up here. Wow, none of you were suspicious that Peter disappeared and Spider-Man immediately showed up here? Not suspicious. Maybe that's when Robbie clued in.
Didn't write that down, Jonah?
And the Green Goblin puts him to sleep. Famously, he says, sleep. And he carries him off. I always thought it was interesting that he could have clearly unmasked
he chose
Spider-Man
not
here.
to.
He chose not to. What do you think about that?
He's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, I don't think that's an oversight. I think that's intentional.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, me either.
I think it's almost like in a Joker way, which I actually hate. Where, you know what I'm talking about?
Don't use the word hate when you talk about anything relating to Spider-Man.
Well, I hate it only in regards to the Joker.
Okay, thank you.
So in Batman, often the Joker is depicted as like disinterested in Batman's identity because he likes to see him in Batman as elevated individuals.
Well, so did Green Goblin. That's really a part of their conversation.
Yeah. So I think it's that. Like, it's like this is the only reason he wants to know who takes the pictures is so he can find just find Spider-Man. He doesn't care who he is. He just wants to talk to him. Yeah. So I think that's fine.
So here we get a bit.
Well, actually,
more.
I don't even think it's fine. It's actually consistent with what you were saying about the conversation.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to downplay what I was saying as like trying to explain a plot hole.
No,
it was actually like a consistent kind of thing. And I don't like it in Batman because I don't like the Joker. But when it's Green Goblin, of course, it's genius. So.
Of course, it's genius. Of course. I think here we get a bit more of. Because there is kind of a lack of a goal from Green Goblin. He's just insane after he murders the board members.
Yeah, because he's like, his first goal is to stop someone from reaching his goal. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, actually, that's not true. I guess his first goal is to maintain Oscorp. Yes. But after that, he loses any sight of anything, and he's like, the only man who can stop me is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then it's like, stop you from doing what?
Well, the thing is,
killing indiscriminately.
Yeah, pretty much. And also, I think he kind of implies like, oh, well, I am an elevated human being. And I think that's kind of an extension of just Norman Osborn being a rich person in general. That's a mindset he has.
And also,
and now it's taken to the extreme.
And it makes sense what you're saying, too, about what you were saying earlier about
his ambition.
His ambition.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
So he's like, well, I was able to murder the board members and keep my spot. Well, what else can I do if I just murder people? Maybe I can become the president of the United States. I'm serious.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, also the fact too is like he's a lunatic now.
Yeah.
So he probably does have like some weird train of thought where it's like,
just murder.
I killed and I kept Oscorp and I can just keep doing that and gain more and more power.
Yeah.
Some random shit like that. Maybe, I don't know.
And like I said, that's where I can kind of read into. Well, okay.
That's where I can empathize with Norman.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. Before I felt like I feel bad for Norman, but I do think Green Goblin is kind of an extension of what his mindset already was. I think the serum kind of enhanced maybe some underlying thoughts he already had.
It exacerbates his kind of...
It's kind of like Captain America, what happened with Captain America and Red Skull. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's what happened.
Of course.
So you don't have to feel quite as bad for Norman.
Yeah, I guess
you know what I mean?
I think that's an interesting point, because I never really thought about that. But obviously the Super Soldier Serum makes him, like, way more insane than Red Skull.
Yeah.
But I guess it's, like, still imperfect and shit. It's not, you know...
But also, the
logistics don't matter as much.
Even just in general, you don't have to take what happened with Norman 100% literally. I think mostly, like we were saying, it's just a warning against being overly ambitious or overly greedy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
not supposed to be 100% literal, I think.
Yeah, and also, it kind of speaks to, like, if you're overly ambitious... Like, the more you gain, like, what's the goal?
Yeah, exactly.
And that kind of...
Yeah, he loses sight of any goal. Exactly.
He just becomes a lunatic that wants to just do whatever he wants.
Pretty much. The genius Sam Raimi. The genius Sam Raimi.
Sam, I hope you're listening to this, and if you are, I just want you to know, you made fucking the greatest Spider-Man movie that will ever be on screen.
Spider-Man 2? We haven't talked about Spider-Man 2 yet.
You could really peg it to any three of them.
Okay. I love Spider-Man 3, but I disagree with you there.
Which one's better?
Well, I'm saying, like, you said you could peg that to any three. Well, 1 and 2 are very
If 1 and 2 didn't exist, 3 would be the best.
Oh, yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I like 3 more than Spider-Verse.
That's what I'm saying. You could peg it to any 3 of them.
One day we should do Spider-Verse. Irrelevant thought. Anyways.
I guess.
Why not? So, yeah, after this, Green Goblin lets Spider-Man go. He's like, he gives him a choice.
He said, think about it, hero.
Yeah, he's like, you should join me. I guess what his mindset is like, maybe if they team up,
he says no.
They can just roll over all these peasants.
Pretty much.
I guess in his mind, it's like, oh, it's easier if I just work with him instead of having to get rid of him.
Yeah, it's easy to kill random guys, like old crippled men on a balcony.
Yeah.
Literally one of them's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
It's easier to kill them, but like this other superhuman, I might actually have to fight him for dominance.
So he's like, he just tried to extend him an offer that he does refuse.
And also, it's kind of like you said about ambition, like, instead of just killing this person that was extremely vulnerable...
Oh, yeah, he actually did have the chance to kill him there, actually.
Yeah, so he just wants to gain, like, another ally.
Yeah.
Which, of course, why would that work? But he's insane, so it's okay.
It is interesting. I do wonder, like, what was the goal there?
I think
what do you want him to Spider-Man? What do you want to do with Spider-Man?
It was like ambition, like you were saying. I think.
Yeah.
Like he wants to gain even more power.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean like working with Spider-Man. Like, what would that look like? That's very strange.
But the logic too is like beyond that of like just seeing like the Green Goblin, Spider-Man like standing each other, like they're both like cross-armed and like scowling or whatever. Like they would be ridiculous. But also that you already know that's not his MO.
Yeah.
What do you think? What the fuck do you think? Like, what do you think this is gonna work? Can we please talk about this part? This part's epic.
Oh yeah, so
much to talk about here.
After Goblin attacks the Daily Bugle and gives the offer to Spider-Man, the city kind of turns on Spider-Man, partly because of the Bugle.
Right.
But they make it... Jonah frames it like Spider-Man was part of this attack on the Daily Bugle. like it was a team thing. Even though Jonah saw it, clearly it wasn't. It was not. But you know him, he hates Spider-Man. But anyways, after that we get
that Jonah.
A pretty well, there will be an iconic moment within the scene. But yeah, so
this scene itself is amazing.
Yeah, Peter sees
Outside of the
MJ
kiss.
once again. He kind of he steps out his boundaries a bit, you may say, and kind of offers a date to MJ.
I don't think so. I don't think he's... What is it, the cheeseburger thing?
Yeah.
No,
it's not a date,
no,
but you know what I mean?
No, I don't think so.
It's a friend date, bro.
Her reaction... Chill out.
It's a friend date.
No, but I genuinely don't think it was like... I don't think it was even romantically charged.
I don't think so either.
I think it was just like, hey, you want to like hang out? Like
no, it's more of just Peter being genuine towards MJ.
And the way she reacts too, you can tell like she you know, she would have done it. But
yeah.
She has plans. I think that was a genuine...
But she does turn it into a flirtation thing. She does.
How?
Because he asks
about...
they
kiss 12 seconds later.
No, not that. But he asks about... What am I saying? Peter asks about Harry. And she's like, oh, why would you be interested in that? And he's like, oh, I'm not. And he's like, why would I be? And she's like, oh, why would you be? I don't know. It's just a little...
She turns it into a thing.
Yeah.
It becomes a little thing because of her, yeah. I see what you're saying.
And that's when she said, catch you later, Tiger. Iconic Mary Jane dialogue.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyways, so then she walks off. Peter sees four thugs. Yeah, four or five, however many are thugs, follow up.
Too many.
They walk up on MJ. They have something dirty in their mind.
Oh yeah, they have terrible thoughts in their head.
Yeah, they have terrible thoughts
when they start following Mary Jane.
Because they're basically like catcalling her, I guess. And they start following her.
It's beyond catcalling, I would say.
Well, I'm saying like how it starts out when they first follow her into the house.
They're just kind of like, come on.
Yeah, and
you can't
it's basically implied that they're going to rape her.
Yeah, they're going to. Yeah, absolutely.
But Peter saw them following her, and so, you know, he suits up.
Thank God.
He comes, and this action scene is fucking great. We didn't mention this earlier. When Peter just beat the shit out of him.
It's not really like... It's not a set piece.
Yeah, but it's good.
Well, I mean, it's great. But there's a few sines like this.
And there's no CGI in it, or it doesn't look like it anyways.
I don't think there is.
No, it's just him doing stunts, beating the shit out of them.
Could be wrong. There's one part there's one part though when he's on the building, but that could have been done with like green screen or something.
I just mean when he finds them in the rain. Also, it looks really cool, him fighting the dudes in the rain.
There's one part that looks awesome where he webs like... He shoots 2 webs on their guns, shoots 2 more on their guns, and pulls them all away.
Yes.
On that part, he's standing on a building.
Yeah.
Like, on the side.
We should have it playing.
So. This part is so amazing.
Yeah.
Jesus, Evan.
I have no idea what happened.
This man, Evan, took it all the way back to the Columbia logo.
Okay. It's okay. We're there.
It's okay. Evan knows exactly where every scene is on the timeline of the Spider-Man movie. So, yeah. This part and the part where he's pursuing the shooter, very Batman.
Yeah, kind of.
I would
just
say
because it takes place at night.
No.
You don't think so?
No. This dude's a fucking animal. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. What do you mean by that?
Very Batman.
I don't know if I agree.
Very Batman.
Just because he beats the shit out of them?
It's brutal. It's like... Stopping a rape is more of a Batman thing than a Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that it's at nighttime, like I mentioned.
It just...
And the rain.
It feels more... I don't know, it feels more brooding than like... than a typical Spider-Man action scene.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, yeah.
And it feels more tactful and more... You know?
Yeah. But yeah, he takes care of the thugs. And then he has another moment with MJ, and she's like, well, are you following me?
So this part, he said, pause it, Evan, please,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind. This is what I was mentioning earlier when I was saying that I think this is where she finds out he's Peter.
Well, she was literally talking to him like 30 seconds earlier.
Literally 1 second ago, Peter was there.
Yeah.
As well as, didn't he just say, right when he talked about the cheeseburger thing, he says, oh, I was in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man, 12 seconds later, says, oh, I was in the neighborhood.
Okay, that is interesting.
And when Spider-Man and Mary Jane first met, he says, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay, Dylan, I'm starting to side with you. I think. I am starting to side with you a bit, I think.
And I think Peter not kind of wanting to take his full mask off is maybe like... not a misdirect, but it's kind of like he's not ready, but now she knows. I think I don't know. I think that's pretty. I think it's real.
That's interesting. I never thought about it like that. I never really thought about it. I don't think she fully knows, but definitely in like the back of her mind.
Now she's like, what? I think now she, at the very least, she suspects it.
Yeah,
for a fact.
But yeah, it's interesting. I feel like this. So they have the moment where they kiss as her way of thanking Spider-Man for rescuing her, where he's upside down. She pulls down the mask.
The iconic upside down kiss.
Yeah, this scene is very iconic, but it's interesting. I feel like this scene doesn't feel as iconic as it used to.
Oh,
I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, come on.
No.
Oh, come on.
I just mean in the fact that it doesn't seem to be in the mainstream consciousness like it used to be.
Oh, I know what you mean. But it's kind of like the Matrix or whatever. Like the Matrix backwards dodge thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of done.
Yeah, maybe that's
I think it's still very iconic, but I don't... Yeah, like it's not parodied every day or anything.
Yeah, That's all I mean.
People actually do it like...
But I feel like there's a lot of things from like Star Wars that like, even to this day, you still... You know what I mean?
I understand.
But it's definitely an iconic moment. I feel like it's not the most famous moment from the movie, but it's definitely one of them.
It probably... Honestly, I think I wasn't really like a conscious human being when it came out. But I became conscious later that year at my birthday party. No, but I think at the time, like, this was the thing about the movie.
Yeah, Because remember the Jack Black parody of Spider-Man 1? That was a funny little moment.
Evan, can I mention a bit of a fun fact about the scene?
They did reference it in Spider-Verse, though.
Tobey Maguire was waterboarding himself
the
entire
he was.
time. Did you know about that?
He was, yeah.
Did you know about this?
We've, of course, Dylan. You think I don't know about that? But we also discussed it before I saw it.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
I'm sure we've talked about everything we've said here.
We've already talked about.
Like, except for maybe one or two things.
Yeah.
Some
of the newer revelations we may have had.
Yeah, which is, you can mine new stuff up from this movie all the time. It's 20 years later, and guess what?
There really is a lot going on in it.
And like I said too, one of the things that I've grown to appreciate the most, and kind of what you brought up semi-recently about Harry, I think we talked about that like maybe a year, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. How you're talking about like, oh, Harry's like stealing his girl. And that whole kind of aspect. I really appreciate how everyone does feel like their own person.
Yes.
Like, it's not Peter's... It is obviously Spider-Man's movie, Peter's movie, but Harry and MJ both have a lot of moving parts.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm glad both of us have kind of came to the defense of MJ, because I think that's the common criticism of her in these movies.
I think...
But like you said, there's a very clear reason she is the way she is.
She weird in Spider-Man 3, but Spider-Man 3 is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I was like, we'll get to that.
In this movie, I think she's perfectly good.
Yes, me too. And in part 2, I think she is also.
I can't speak to part 2. I can't really think of what she even does in that movie. Well, I guess she moves on from Peter and...
Yeah. Or does she?
We'll
get to it.
Evan said, yeah.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it, I guess. No, actually, this is maybe a good point as well for me to bring up. When I was watching this last night, I was like, damn, Spider-Man 2 is better. Did we already talk about this?
Yeah, we did.
I guess we did, but there was just a few scenes during this movie where I was like, yeah, I want to see him doing that instead, kind of.
I feel like 2 just took everything that was in part 1 and just...
Made it better?
Yeah, kind of perfected it.
I think
it's definitely... One thing I would definitely say about part 2 is it definitely shot a lot better than part 1, I think. I still like... 1 still looks amazing to me, but I think 2 just took it to the next level.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And the CGI is much better in part 2 also.
There's so many frames in this movie that I think are fucking beautiful.
Like this?
Of course, them kissing upside down, but this entire fight scene looks immaculate.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know why.
The lighting is great.
It looks cool, and this isn't about like the composition or anything, but him with the mask off, why?
I don't know, but it's cool how his face is like...
It looks cool.
It's shadowed the whole time.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep the identity thing going. It looks really dope.
It's like he's teasing her with his face. He's like,
maybe
Peter, you done Peter?
He didn't have time to put the mask on when he came to rescue her.
He said, fuck it, mask off.
They had that kid. I remember, even as a child though, I thought the kiss scene, I was like, well, this is saucy. It's a bit saucy for this is not a kiss you would see in an MCU movie. Because they're tonguing and everything. So there's the fact that like you can barely clearly see Kirsten Dunst's nipples. And the fact that they're like having like a full-on kiss, as a kid I was like, yeah, this like Isn't it a kids movie? It's not a kids movie, but you know what I mean. It's like marketed to children
even
as
though
well.
this, yeah,
I was like, whoa, that's a bit much for
I
this.
wanted to say that even though this movie is like obviously like a, you know, it's marketed. It like
they wanted kids and adults to come.
The way they wanted it to look was like Batman Forever, I think.
Yeah.
Like kind of cartoony.
Yes. Uh-huh.
They wanted it to look like that. I don't think that was like Sam Raimi's goal.
Yeah.
But I think that they were like, you're doing cartoony Spider-Man IRL, perfect.
Yeah.
Like print.
I agree.
But really, it's a despite being pretty silly, it's a very adult movie.
It is, yeah. Like we said, most of the stuff you read into it, a lot of it we didn't even think about until we got older.
Yeah, very true.
We took it at face value, and I think that speaks to how good the movie is, because like when you're a kid, you can still enjoy it without having to think about all that, and then once you get older, it gets even better.
Yeah, it
becomes elevated.
It's not like Interstellar or some shit. That, to be fair, I actually have not seen Interstellar. But what I mean is like an adult blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like what's the other one? I shouldn't have said Interstellar. I've never seen it. Inception.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's like Inception. Like if you show that to a kid, they're gonna be like, "This sucks."
Yes. Uh-huh.
Like this is a 4-quadrant movie.
Yeah.
Done perfectly. The
Yes.
MCU wants to be 4-quadrant movies. This is a movie that
for everybody.
Everyone can enjoy. There's stuff going on in the background. There's stuff going on in the foreground. There's stuff that's going on for film nerds, for superhero nerds.
No, it's serious. Yeah.
There really is. For music nerds. The fucking amazing score.
All the parts of the movie.
Everything. Evan, everything is running it's running like a V6 engine.
I agree.
On a what's that truck you guys were talking about?
The Tacoma.
It's running like on like a V6 Tacoma engine.
Yeah.
Really.
That's great.
Oh yeah.
I love it. But anyway, so I guess we can move on from that iconic moment now. We still got not too much longer, but
about a third of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, because once he became Spider-Man, we had a lot to start. We had a lot to start saying once he became Spider-Man.
That's my new wallpaper. Fuck it.
It's a good grab.
They're kissing.
It's a good grab
for those of you at home. But yeah, the city looks less yellow in this movie.
Yeah. Compared
even
to
though
part
it's on
two.
like all the Blu-rays, right? All the posters.
Yeah, even prior to part 2 being made, that was.
So then it just kind of transitions to the next day, and there's a fire.
Yeah. So. I like this transition. How Jim gets back into the action right after that. Anyways, so we have more Green Goblin trying to get Spider-Man's attention, pretty much. This when I was watching, I was like, Jesus Christ, he really is insane. He just causes this random fire, knowing that Spider-Man's gonna show up to try and get him.
That swinging looks fantastic.
It does.
That doesn't even you can't see the seams. That looks great.
Yeah, he swings into the window to rescue this woman's poor baby.
One thing I wanted to mention, because they're gonna show. I like the way that there's incongruity between certain shots, and I think the most famous is at the end when Norman is impaled by the glider, and it's like, you know what I mean by that?
Not really.
Like they're not exactly chronological. Like they show the glider almost pierce Norman.
Oh, and then he has to
and then it cuts, and then he says and then it cuts again, and it's like farther back, and it hits him. But it's like you don't need it to be chronological.
Yeah,
like the way it works is like more effective.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Which is also there's so many genius techniques by auteur director Sam Raimi.
There is.
And Evan laughs because it's true.
Oh, I wasn't laughing against it. No,
I'm just saying.
I totally agree.
I'm just saying. Any number of people might assume that was ironic.
Oh,
but guess what? No, it's genius.
Facts. But anyways, he saves the baby. He goes back in, and there's a green
There's
goblin.
a fucking poor old woman trapped in the fire. We're watching it right now. She has a blanket. She's coughing. What's happening, Evan?
The scene is so hilarious.
What's happening? That poor old woman with the giant fucking noodle on the back of her head.
Oh no, it's the Green Goblin.
Oh gee, sweet Christ! It's the Green Goblin, which is great.
His dialogue here is just so funny. You're pathetically predictable. He knew. Oh, when he said, "What about my generous proposal?" That's also a pretty funny move.
Yeah, because there was no proposal. You just join me.
Are you in? Are you out?
And the effect of the pumpkin little splicers.
Oh,
I always thought they were very cool and satisfying. Like the way he whips them out, He doesn't even do like a super aggressive throw. He kind of just like lifts them up like drones, and they just fly out at him. They look great.
Spider-Man, he dodges him. One of them does cut him. But as we see here, one of them did cut him. Which
I always thought that was cool, where he just punches them and they explode, and then one nicks him because it's like off center.
And I like when he's fighting here.
He says, "Get over here."
You have those very quick zoom-ins, which is a Sam Raimi thing, because he does that in Evil Dead in a lot of his movies. He has like those quick zoom-ins, if that makes sense. I don't know if you know what I mean by that.
Well, they do it later on Norman when he dies.
Yeah. It's just a thing Sam Raimi does a lot. But they have their little battle. Spider-Man gets away, and then we cut to the famous Thanksgiving scene.
Ooh.
So yeah, interestingly enough, Norman and Peter, they were both doing their thing right before they had to come for Thanksgiving dinner over at
each other.
Yeah, at Harry and Peter's apartment.
What do you think the significance of the shirts are? For those of you at home,
yeah, this is interesting.
All the guys are wearing suits, and Norman is wearing Spider-Man colors, red and blue. Peter is wearing Goblin colors, purple and green, and Harry is wearing both, green and red.
I don't even know like exactly what they're going for. It's definitely intentional.
I think if it means anything, it's to do with Harry.
Maybe.
Because I can't see if Harry wasn't in the scene, that I wouldn't really know what to make of that.
Let me just ask you this. Why do you think they switched Peter and Norman? Why do you think they switched their colors?
Contrast?
That's what I don't really chalk it up to any specific meaning.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of creates...
I think it's just a visual contrast.
Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It creates a little tension, you might say.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't read too much into it, but I definitely think it wasn't unintentional that they did that. No way.
And especially since you have Harry wearing both.
Yeah.
Like that. I think if it means anything, it has to do with Harry.
He's kind of in the middle of both worlds, maybe.
Yeah, maybe an indication of Harry's questioning.
Yeah.
He's like El Tigre.
Which
side will he choose? We don't know.
Oh yeah, El Tigre. Were his parents like evil or something?
His grandpa was evil,
right?
A supervillain, and his dad was a superhero.
Okay, that was it.
Yeah. Great show.
That's pretty cool. Anyways, Peter was hiding in his room. He showed up. He just shot into his room in full Spider-Man costume for whatever reason.
I mean, you gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, I guess he wasn't expecting them to run up
to all be in his room.
Yeah.
The second he gets home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Gosh, she's so beautiful.
Anyways,
for those of you at home, I'm talking about Mary Jane Watson.
She is. Oh, and in this scene, they don't draw attention to it, but I think it's intentional. Mary Jane's wearing the black dress.
Oh,
yeah.
You're not kidding. And it's great how his reaction is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the black dress. He's just fucking...
Oh, so at this point, he's like full Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Norman's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And so when he comes in, he's like eyeing up MJ in a very creepy way. And she can tell, like you see, like she's immediately off-put by Norman. Anyways, and then
the classic, we just missed it, what's her fucking name? Aunt May.
Yeah.
Aunt May slaps his hand as he's trying to... Ambition? Is that a bit of an... he's ambitious, and the beautiful, wonderful Aunt May, who raised Spider-Man himself, stops him?
Yeah, so at this point, he's just like, anything is mine. So he just reaches... He's like, yeah, let me just take this food.
Grace, yeah.
He just reaches his hand in the fucking food, which is, not sanitary. Don't put your food in the fucking sweet potatoes.
I don't care how rich you are.
Yeah.
You schlub.
But it's a cool little character moment, like you said. It's his mindset.
You were wearing a dead woman's robe in a fiery building like 10 seconds ago.
So he reaches in there, try to take it, and then Aunt May slaps his hand. Oh, and, he don't like that.
And then he starts sharpening the knife.
He starts eyeing her up.
Yeah.
Or sharpening the knife to cut the turkey.
It's a very weirdly tense moment.
And then they notice the cut on Peter's arm from his battle with the Green Goblin. And that creates some drama. This is when he pretty much realizes, oh shit, Peter's Spider-Man. And he dips.
Can I ask you something controversial?
Yeah.
Will you pause for a moment?
Of course.
So, Evan, I have a bit of a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think... I want you to consider this carefully, Evan. What do you think about this?
Yes.
Do you think that the Vulture reveal is comparable to this? Do you think they're the Vultures as good?
No. No, actually, that's a great moment in Homecoming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say they're comparable.
Yeah, okay. I like how they do it in... I like how they do it in this. But I also like how they do it in Homecoming, because Homecoming is like...
No, when I was like, no, I'm just joking, because, shit on MCU. But that actually is one of the better moments in Homecoming, unironically.
Because I really like how... in this movie, it's obviously, like, it's a pretty, like, one note... Not one note, but it's like...
They draw more attention to it in Homecoming.
Yeah.
Because you have the red light, green light thing.
Yeah, that's very deliberate. But I like how in Homecoming, it's like... Eventually, someone's gonna pick up on your bullshit.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's not like he's, like, going to France and
yeah,
shit.
because that's definitely more of part of the story in Homecoming.
Of him, like...
doing a sloppy job trying to balance that.
Yeah, because it's like, why... You're in Washington.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man saves the Washington Monument. You're the only one that's not there.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was at, like... You weren't at the party for very long. Like,
yeah.
I just think that was a good, like, villain Spider-Man identity reveal.
It was.
So I wanted to...
There you go. See, we don't always shit on MCU Spider-Man. We're giving Homecoming some credit right now.
That.
We gave Homecoming some credit.
And Michael Keaton's great.
Because that actually is kind of a good part of Homecoming.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Michael Keaton went great. So, which is better? It's hard to say. But the reveal is given a lot more attention in Homecoming than it is in this. In this, it's very quick. He's like, oh shit, he realizes that he's Spider-Man. He gets up and leaves.
He should have just turned a pumpkin bomb on and walked out.
Yeah. And then we also see Norman say some pretty terrible things about MJ.
He says, fucking billionaire 1%er says terrible things about daughter-in-law.
Yeah. And Harry does nothing to defend her.
He does, actually.
Well... Yeah, he does, actually, because he's like...
But he kind of... It's weird, because he very, like...
He defends her, but he also defends Norman. That's how I should say it.
Yeah, he defends MJ...
Even though Norman is, I think, very indefensible here. Like, you can be like, yeah, he's my dad, but you can't defend him in this moment.
I think he's, like, such a servant to his dad that he just can't, like, turn around and bow him to someone else. Like, you can kind of feel how he wants about him, but, like, to someone else, he's going to defend him. So... Yeah, he says you're wrong about her, Dad. But he says it very quietly, and then obviously Norman's screaming like, fuck her, like, oh!
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Norman says something pretty raunchy here. He says, do what you need to and then broom her quick. And it's like, jeez, yeah, you know what he's saying. But, so yeah, he doesn't do too much to defend her. I should say that. MJ gets pissed off, and then... But... Harry pretty much just mouths off on her.
Well, what he says, too, is not... He's not mean to Mary Jane, and he's not mean to his dad.
Yeah.
That's, I think, is interesting, too, because he says, look at your classic toy. It's, Green Goblin starts talking his mask on the chair, and that's exactly Evan's toy. But he doesn't say anything specifically bad about either of them.
But it's definitely not a moment to defend Norman. But like you said, he just can't... He's bring himself to do it.
He's like pussy whipped by his dad.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. But what you're saying, I knew exactly what you meant by that.
He's a subject to his father.
Yeah.
Like he's he'll do anything to make his father happy, and he respects his father. And he says right there, like, to defend Norman, what he says is like, I'm lucky if I'll be the half the man he is. So it's like, it's interesting that he like self-deprecates to try and show like how much he respects his father. This part's epic. I like Christianity in movies. That's not a joke. I like it.
Yeah, so
it feels epic.
For what Dylan's talking about, after that, MJ walks off, and then Green Goblin has that amazing scene where he's being like tortured. The scene always looks like torture to me. The way he's on his knees. Like, it seems like psychotic torture, like he's hearing the voices in his head, you know what I mean? But the Goblin Mask is telling him what to do. Now that they know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, the cunning warrior does not attack body or mind. They attack the heart.
It's interesting that you say it's like torture, because I think of it as like he's he's worshipping the mask.
Yeah, I can see that too. Just the way he is on his knees. It's kind of a bit of a both.
It's kind of both.
The way I read it, the reason I read it as like torture, it's just because it's a psychotic thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's very, like, yeah, something ain't right upstairs.
But the fact that he's looking at the mask for guidance.
Yeah.
And I always like that he already had masks in his room. Like, he had a bunch of tribal masks and stuff, which is very cool.
Gives a little,
excuse me.
credence, I guess,
well,
to why he...
It explains why he might have an inclination towards masks and shit like that. Yeah, I like
especially creepy-looking ones. Because those are the ones he has. So that's interesting. So yeah, the cunning warrior does not attack body or mind.
The cunning warrior attacks body nor mind.
Yeah, they attack
rate that impression out of 10.
That was a 9.5.
Holy shit. Okay. Alright, you're not kidding. Holy shit.
It'd only be a 0.5 higher if you were Willem Dafoe himself.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. If I was thick as a fucking dump truck.
So yeah, he attacks
he attacks his heart.
Yeah. He goes after
and that's another very iconic meme. Also a meme, but also very iconic in its own right.
The heart Osborn. First we attack his heart.
First we attack his heart, and then, that man burst through the door.
Yeah, he did.
And
what did you want to say about the religion, though?
I just like fucking...
Aunt May praying, for those of you who
I'm
don't
not
know.
a particularly religious guy, but I think when you can give... It's hard to give faith kind of a concrete, like... It's hard to give faith a language.
Yeah.
In film or in fiction, and I think doing it through religion is like the easiest way. So I think it's usually very fucking epic. Like Daredevil.
I agree. Yeah, that's
really
good.
It's really cool. I mean, like, I'm not saying anything about religion or anything like that outside of fiction, but I'm just saying it's a great lens to view faith through in fiction.
What do you make though of him telling her to finish the prayer?
It's just epic.
Like, do you take anything out of that? It's definitely creepy.
Can I tell you what I think?
Yeah.
Why I think he said that?
Yeah.
I think they wanted to hear that wonderful actress like just scream that line in terror. I think they just wanted an excuse for her to say it.
That is, I would agree.
I don't think it gets much deeper than that. But that scene is fucking cool.
Those
horribly yellow eyes.
Yeah, and then Aunt May ends up in the hospital. And I think, immediately that's when Peter goes there and he says, oh, he knows who I am. Yeah. Which is scary. Yeah. That's really scary.
Especially because at this point he doesn't know
who the fuck the Green Goblin is. Yeah, but he knows who he is. Which is, that can mean, like, at this point, any number of things of how he possibly found out who he is.
I think it's not really a huge deal, but... The fact that he's not suspicious of Norman after the Thanksgiving thing is kind of interesting. I don't know, like, the fact that this dude, like, changes his tone and, like, leaves immediately when he sees your Spider-Man injury. Yeah.
It's strange to me, though, because I always read that scene as Peter being a bit suspicious of Norman, too.
Really?
The way... I don't think it is, but, like, I thought about it before. The way he responds to him about the bike messenger thing.
He says it kind of...
Yeah, you know what I mean? And the way he looks at him.
He says it... Like, he says it more timidly than you would expect.
Yes, he's like, bike messenger, knock me down.
Bike messenger, knock me down.
And he's like very intensely staring at Norman. So, I don't know, maybe he was, I don't think he was suspicious, but it almost kind of reads like that.
I agree. I just feel like there's a lot of tension in the room in general.
Yeah, definitely.
Which they do kind of a good job of that too, where it's like the tension in that scene obviously doesn't even just... exclusively come from Spider-Man and Green Goblin. It's mostly Harry.
Yeah. and even Aunt May a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a really good scene. The Thanksgiving scene is fucking great.
It's great, yeah.
So, then MJ also comes to visit Aunt May. And here Peter and her pretty much have... They have their... I guess it's pretty much when she falls in love with Peter. So what do you make of that scene? I think you had something to say about that.
The scene where Peter
and MJ talk
in the fucking hospital room.
Yeah, and she asks about, what does Spider-Man think of me? Because Peter tells him, I'm his personal photographer. Well, it's interesting to me that now I read it as like, I think MJ was.
So that's what I was gonna say. I think she's fishing there.
Yeah.
Like I think she's trying to maybe get him to admit he's Spider-Man, or kind of. See if he's going to say anything that indicates he's Spider-Man. Like, I think she's trying to figure him out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good point, Dylan.
Huge brain.
But and then Peter, he just pulls this out of his ass. He gives, like, he gives her some poetry about why MJ is so great.
I actually do think it's a shitty speech.
What? It's cheesy. cheesy.
I don't think it's shitty, as in like, oh, the person who wrote that's a hack.
Yeah.
I think in the context of it, it's a very like. He's ad-libbing, like not ad-libbing, but he's like, it's off the dome.
Yeah.
Like in the context of the movie, it's off the dome. So it's like he's kind of just like, he's trying to just tell her how he feels in this moment
without saying it.
Yeah,
without just being like, "I love you."
Yeah, exactly. Which I think for that, it's
And then that's pretty much
sense.
Yeah. She falls for him there, and she puts her hand on Peter's hand. But oh no, Harry walks in and sees
my
it.
lord.
Harry
I
walks
think
in.
honestly, if your dying old decrepit aunt is like laying on her deathbed, it's okay for like two friends to be holding hands.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? It's funny. I literally thought about that. I'm like, it's a bit weird to me that like Peter just had this horrible thing happen to him.
Also, his uncle died like 2 months ago.
So he's down extremely bad. And your first thought is like, oh my god, what the fuck, Peter?
You're touching my girl.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, come on, bro. But Harry is kind of an asshole anyway, so it works.
Yeah. Harry really isn't nice until like he kills himself.
So yeah, he walks in to give
He's a
flowers to
dickhead
Aunt May
in
also.
Spider-Man 2 too.
No, yeah, completely.
Yeah, he's
completely.
a dickhead.
We'll get to.
Yeah, we will. But I'm just saying he's really not nice till he kills himself.
Yeah. He was nice to him at the beginning.
Yeah, more or less.
At the beginning of part 1.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
He's just a little jealous that he's been taking he took some of his father's love away from him. But anyways,
Poor little orphan boy.
Yeah, Harry, he storms off after that. Well, we don't really know. It cuts. We don't know if he stayed for a little bit. It'd be kind of fucked up to Aunt May if he just ran off. We don't know. But it's cut immediately from there to him going home and telling Norman, he's like, yeah, you were right about MJ. Oh, she's in love with Peter. And then Norman grabs on that immediately. He's like, Parker? He literally said Parker. He actually doesn't give a fuck about his son's feelings here at all.
It's just new information for him to like torture.
Yeah. He knows that, I need to attack her. That's how I get at Peter. But he tries to frame it in a way that he's like, yeah, I'm looking out for you now, son.
Oh, Peter?
Because he goes to Harry, he's like, I haven't. This scene is so funny to me. He says, I haven't always been there for you, have I? And then Harry's like, but you're busy, Dad. I understand. And then Norman's like, no, I haven't done what I'm supposed to, and now I'm going to write certain inequities.
Inequities?
He said I'm going to write certain inequities, or something along those lines, and that's just funny as fuck to me because he says it so menacingly.
Just being a clearly evil supervillain to your son. And
then after that, that's when you get the jump scare. Like I said.
Can I ask you something crazy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think the father? This is a bit of a callback for any RNS listeners that have listened to maybe some or all of our episodes. In Trick or Treat, the evil Dylan Baker dad. Do you think he's a better father than Norman Osborn?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, it depends at what point in life you're talking about. For Norman. Well, once he was a Green Goblin, he didn't really do anything wrong to Harry.
No, he didn't.
No, I would say Norman's a better dad.
Well, like
even though he was nice to his son, I don't consider turning your son into a serial killer being a good dad.
But I don't know but like Norman tried to kill his best friend, tried to kill his girlfriend, and tried to kill his like best friend's like mom.
Yeah, but I don't think the way he was going about it was in a way to wrong Harry. You know what I mean?
But it's still not very nice.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. He wasn't considerate. That's the problem.
But wouldn't you rather like kill someone with your son and be happy than like secretly in the background be trying to kill his family, his friend's family?
This is a good debate to have, Dylan. This is very interesting. It genuinely is a nuanced debate. You may be right, because they were in Trick or Treat. They were a happy father and son.
They were,
despite being evil.
They were very happy together. Yeah. Yes.
It depends on how you look at it.
Because on top of not being generally happy together, like the goblin shit aside, he wasn't a very present father. Yeah. Even though he seems like kind of nice. I don't know. I was defending him earlier in the movie, but I don't know. I think that was just an interesting thing. Like,
it's an interesting conversation, but I think it does kind of go to our point though that Norman isn't the greatest father.
No.
Yeah. But anyways, after that.
Yeah, like it's crazy that a serial killer Like a real life sadistic like serial killer might be a better dad than you.
Yeah. He's not great.
I guess Goblin's a fucking sadistic serial killer as well.
But prior to that.
But yeah.
Well, actually no, because it's part of it. Like you said, murdering your his best friend and his girlfriend. So
his girlfriend and his fucking best friend's mom. But anyways, so did you have anything? I think we're caught up to this point.
Oh yeah, I just want to say there's another jump scare there, where the goblin, like, a little green goblin moment, and Peter wakes up.
What is that?
It's after he finds out that, Peter loves MJ. There's a green goblin jump scare, and Peter wakes up at the hospital.
You're not Superman.
Right there.
Okay, so
there's a little green goblin jump scare, just like at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Oh, and it wakes him up like in the hotel or in
the hospital.
The hospital.
Yeah.
You're not Superman, you know.
Yeah. So
I love that line.
I don't like Eternals because Spider-Man referenced DC first.
Better.
The first Marvel movie.
First and better.
Not only just here when he says Shazam, up and away, up and away web. Yeah. So there you go. I like this little moment between Peter and Aunt May.
Me too.
She's just like, yeah, you know, why don't you just tell MJ how you feel? Why don't you just tell her? Well, he can't.
Because he's Spider-Man. It's
interesting. I was watching this, I'm like, yeah, that's a little moment where Aunt May tells him to do that, but it doesn't come to fruition in this movie.
Does it, you mean in 2?
Yeah, it doesn't come until part 2, but even then, it doesn't really come in the way that Aunt May tells him to do it. Because she's like, yeah, just be yourself with her. Well, he doesn't get the chance to... You know, I mean, it's just funny that they have that little moment where he's like, yeah, just tell her how you feel. Be upfront with her. But it doesn't come to fruition at all in this movie. He actually does the complete opposite. Which is just interesting to me. It's interesting to me that this moment is here. But they don't really do much with it.
Everybody else knows.
It's just a sweet little moment with Aunt May and Peter.
What also leads to her saying everybody else knows, which makes him realize...
Yeah, that... Oh, shit, yeah.
If they know about you, they probably know about Mary Jane.
Yes, and then he tries to call her, and the Green Goblin answers. This scene, oh my god.
Can Spider-Man come?
Yeah. Yeah.
Badass.
It's funny to me, it appears don't go up any dark alleys.
Yeah, bro, you are corny. What do you mean? Come on now.
But yeah, someone picks up the phone, and it's the Green Goblin. And he says, what does he say, Dylan? Can Spider-Man come out to play? That's really funny. So yeah, we're pretty much getting to the end of the film now.
This is the climax.
Yeah, the climax.
Yeah, this is the climax. I kind of always forget that the bridge scene leads directly into the
final battle.
The fight in the ruins.
Yeah. So yeah, the Green Goblin is now... I guess... Yeah, he told Spider-Man where... he told him, yeah, come meet us here.
What do you mean?
Because it cuts. Peter says, oh, where is she? And then it cuts to the bridge.
Oh, yeah. What do they
call it? So
Green
Goblin must be like, yeah, meet me here.
They call that something. There's a name for that.
I don't know, but...
It's like an answer cut or some shit like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like in...
Oh, the question is answered by cutting.
By cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, who's going to help us?
Yeah.
Who are you going to call for? And then it cuts to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it does happen in Guardians, actually, but...
So yeah, it cuts to the bridge and Green Goblin is being a terrorist.
Yeah, he's just being a straight terrorist. And
he kidnapped Mary Jane, put her on the bridge, and he attacks a bunch of innocent children.
That car wreck is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
There's a car wreck on the bridge after Green Goblin firebombs the fucking bridge.
And
what are those flags?
I don't know.
There's just weird, brown and white flags.
Was it an embassy or something like that?
I don't know. Change your flags, whoever you are.
And yeah, Green Goblin attacks the children. I don't know, what do you call that, what they're on?
It's like a, they have it, on Stone Mountain and shit.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. I guess the kids are, on a field trip or something like that.
It's it's not a box car, not a trolley, I don't know. They're in a fucking little car.
Yeah,
they're in a lift.
Yeah, they're in a lift. They called a lift, and all the kids got in.
Yeah.
And then the Green Goblin attacks it, holds it by its fucking wire, and MJ, and he gives Peter the sadistic choice. Die the woman you love.
That's what I was talking about. That's the, it is this moment where he's facing down the Goblin, holding up Mary Jane and the box of kids.
Yeah.
The fucking lighting on Spider-Man looks amazing there.
But Dylan, you cut me off. Die the woman you love, or suffer the little children.
Suffer the little children.
But he's Spider-Man, so he saved both of them.
And this part is just like, it's pretty silly, but he's a lunatic.
You get so much great dialogue though.
Yeah.
We are who we choose to be, not choose. And the
reflection of the kids and and Mary Jane in the lenses.
Yeah, that was great.
And he goes for, it's kind of funny seeing like
a little Gwen Stacy
imagery reference there. Yeah, especially because it's Green Goblin on a bridge dropping her too. It's very deliberate.
But the Chad Toby always saves the day.
Oh yeah,
she don't fall.
He said Buzz Lightyear. That's not a choice.
Yeah, the Chad Toby saves the day. He saved the children and the Mary Jane.
I like it's kind of funny, the image of Peter, like when Goblin first drops both of them, it cuts to slow motion, and like you see the kids slowly falling behind Peter, and as he's running away from them.
It is funny because he's choosing her, but no, he saved both.
But no, he's slick, and I really like how in the scene it's like this could feel very, very cheap, not in terms of visuals, but in terms of writing, it could feel very cheap. But the way that it's so hard for him to do.
Yeah, because it doesn't end there once he grabs her and then saves the kids. It's like, this is a process. You have to get her down, get it on the boat, and then obviously, Green Goblin's still right there, so...
Yeah, and Green Goblin comes very close to killing him right now.
Yeah.
So it feels... He earned making the hard...
saving both of them?
Having the character make the hard choice is earned.
Yes, I agree.
Feels taxing, and
But you get a really good moment here, where,
of course, the New Yorkers come to his rescue.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
I am.
Is that really what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you would like that part.
No, I do like it. Okay, so, just a little fun fact for you, those of you who don't know. In this moment...
I'm actually in the crowd.
Yeah, Dylan was
I'm
in the crowd.
I'm an extra in this movie. I'm in the crowd.
Dylan was in the crowd as a child. Anyways, he's holding on to the car, the trolley, whatever you want to call it. And MJ's crawling down, hanging on. And the boat is coming, I guess it's just like a fishing boat or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're coming to let Spider-Man put down the car in there. But as Green Goblin attempts to murder Spider-Man, the New Yorkers start throwing trash at him. and
what do New Yorkers have at their disposal more than trash?
Dicks.
Of course they got trash. So,
But yeah, so just a fun fact I'm getting on. This moment was not originally in the film. It was written in after 9/11. Yeah.
Got him.
It was written in after 9/11 just to have a little New York
spirit.
Yeah,
New York American spirit in there, Evan.
Yeah, just for those who don't know, fun fact, the Twin Towers was in the original Spider-Man teaser in the original.
That's a very...
And some promotional material, and they had to get rid of all of it.
It was pretty fucking cool, too.
Yeah, it's a great poster. The one with him, coming up behind the wall.
I think it was your fan theory. Your little fan theory. I don't think I've ever heard anyone else say it. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Because this is it's about to get good. So, like Evan said in the first teaser trailer, the Twin Towers are, heavily focused on.
Yeah.
You said that maybe that was, I don't know if you got it from somewhere, but you're the first person I heard it from.
It was all me.
That was the first reveal. That would have been in the movie, and it also would have been the first time we see the Spider-Man suit.
Oh yeah, I do, because they have a moment similar to that in the teaser. Right. Yeah. No, I think that's true. Oh. But that I don't know hard confirmation. That was just me guessing. Yeah.
But it plays like such a grand reveal in the teaser trailer.
Yeah, versus the montage,
and then
which is kind of what we were talking about. How the montage is very quick and just gets you eased into him.
Yeah, I feel
versus them having a big moment.
The montage is a lot more about New York.
Yeah.
Which is also why I was saying I think the it's so crazy how funny that looks. It's just the part where Peter he gets grenaded in the face. Yeah. And Evan just paused on that. It looks very funny. But I think that scene earns you the New Yorkers coming back at the end.
The montage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. It just fits.
Definitely.
It feels like New York is a bit of a character in this film, you could say, Evan.
I agree.
How about that?
And you get a really good moment like that in part 2 also. We'll get to it.
Ooh, we'll get to it.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that it was written in after 9/11 happened, which is cool, yeah.
Yeah, I like 9/11. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. Great.
Anyway,
no, but it's badass too. If you haven't seen the trailer or the teaser, look it up. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
if you like Raimi shit. Like he catches like
And that original poster is fucking dope. I really like it a lot.
Is the one peeking from behind the
building?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. I like it a lot.
But the teaser is like he catches a big
the helicopter.
A helicopter of criminals between the towers.
Yeah.
Catches criminals just like flies.
He does.
Oh, what doesn't he?
Does whatever a spider can.
Oh my gosh. My gosh, what a hero.
But anyway, so yeah, after that, Spider-Man successfully put down the trolley, saves MJ and the children, and then the Goblin like grab him right there and throws him into like the warehouse or whatever abandoned ruins.
He whips and nays him.
Yeah, into there, and they have what I think is like just one of the most brutal fights in a big mainstream superhero movie.
Yes.
Yeah, you agree, right?
Well, I've been saying this. Evan, I've been saying this since day one.
You've been saying
I've been saying this since day one. You guys don't hear me out. You guys don't listen to old Dylan.
We don't.
No one listens to old Dylan.
When they listen to RNS, they only listen to me.
But guess what? No, I'm not just saying you. I'm saying the world. I'm saying everyone in the world I've ever talked to Spider-Man 1 about. You don't listen to me. You don't care about my opinion. This is like the greatest ending to a superhero movie of all time.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I know I agree with that.
I think it's a great fight.
It's
definitely one of the best.
Ever since I was a tiny little sprout, I always thought that this was like the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
I think the ending between Doc Ock and Spider-Man is better though.
It's not a fight.
It's not a fight though. That's exactly why I like it though.
Well,
we'll get to it. Yeah.
No, that's the thing though. I'm not saying like it's the best ending to a superhero movie. I'm saying it's like the best end fight.
Oh, okay, the best end fight. Okay, yeah.
It's definitely one of, if not the greatest end fight in a superhero movie.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fucking awesome.
It is.
It's just these two bruisers.
Yeah.
Bare knuckle. Not really bare knuckle, but they're fighting each other.
They're beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, more bare knuckle in a certain sense.
And it starts out brutal as fuck because Green Goblin should beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, he doesn't land a punch.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah.
And then
like you say, he gets grenaded in the face.
And that's very horror too.
Yes.
Like we just saw like after he gets grenaded in the face, the blowback is very like Sam Raimi horror looking.
This whole final sequence is another aspect of why I said the horror thing earlier, where I feel like Spider-Man 1 has the most like horrific elements. And he just looks so fucking cool with the ripped mask. I've always thought that.
I think that's the best you can do.
What do you mean? Like
for a ripped Spider-Man mask.
Oh yes, definitely. I agree.
You can do like just the placement of the tear.
Even as a kid, I thought it was so fucking cool.
I had the toy.
Oh really?
I had the battle.
You know that one is like rare as hell. It's expensive on eBay.
Well, G. Willow Wilson, I wish I still had it, but by golly, I don't have it. But the ripped up battle damaged Spider-Man, that was one of my favorite toys as a kid. I'm still playing with the figure Evan gave me, but you
could have that, and it'd be more accurate to this moment.
This guy was like one of my favorite toys as a kid. But yeah, like you said, the mask, like just the one line still there and half the face tear kind of.
Yeah,
and, like it looks perfect. And also, like Peter is so like he's ashy. He could use some lotion, but he
needs some cocoa butter.
He needs some cocoa butter, and his hair is greasy as fuck. He's pale. He's beaten. He's battered. He looks perfect.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
Chris Evans not letting you do that to his face.
I will say
Robert Downey Jr. is not letting you do that. Tom Holland's not letting you do that to his face.
They're definitely not. Yeah, I agree with you. They just went all out on it, which is awesome.
You see that?
I do.
That looks like a fucking Frank Miller drawing.
It's Peter getting angry after he says like, "Yeah, I'm gonna."
It's like a close up, and he's gritting his teeth, and you see both his eyes, and then he's gonna fork him with some weapon we've never seen before, some type of trident, and he catches it very epically, and then I love how he pulls the wall down on him. I had that wall. I think that was part of the set that came with the.
I think I've seen it. I've seen it. But yeah, so after he threatens MJ, he goes ham. He just beats the shit out of Green Goblin.
He goes Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, this is something like there's not a lot to say about this because like you just gotta see it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty much like it's not like a character scene. I guess you get a bit of character here at the end or something interesting to talk about. But it's interesting too that it's very one-sided. It's pretty much
until then.
It's one-sided on both sides.
Okay, yeah.
Because Goblin's beating the shit out of Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man's beating the shit out of Goblin. There's not really like an exchange of blows.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I guess.
That is cool. And then once he realizes, he's not gonna win this fight.
Yeah, he corners Goblin, and Goblin's kind of like, I'm losing.
So I'm gonna do the big reveal.
When I was younger, I used to think that this was literally Norman.
Yeah, definitely not.
But
I agree with you though. When I was a kid, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, like I thought he was able to like break back through or something, but obviously he's clicking the button, but you never know, I guess.
No, him taking off the mask was like, yeah, this is my only option right now because I'm getting my ass beat.
It's interesting, yeah. Cause
I had to appeal to him as a human being.
He's trying to get out of it that way and trap him.
Yeah.
But it's interesting too that he fakes a real moment, and then he does have a genuine real moment while he's dying, which is great.
Yeah, that is. So, we get the great moment though. So, like I said, the father thing comes back up. He tried to plead to Peter like, yeah, I've been like a father to you. Be a son to me. Just, I guess he's asking him to let him go.
I have a father. His name is... No, he's asking for a hug.
And this is also when he acknowledges to Peter that, him and the goblin are like two different people.
Yeah.
Because he said the goblin did it, not me.
Yeah.
So, which is... On Peter's end, he just probably looked completely fucking insane. Yeah. Which he is, but, So, while that's happening, though...
He gets stabbed in the dick.
He was just trying to bring up the glider to stab Spider-Man. But, good old Spidey senses saved the day.
Yeah, they do that in Homecoming, too.
Do they?
Yeah, because Spider-Man webs Vulture's hand to the table, and then he summons the wings.
Oh, does he?
To attack Spider-Man from behind.
Okay.
Which is, the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't say, though, but Peter's like, I have a father.
His name is Ben Parker.
And with that, I will say, I feel like Peter has the most resolved daddy issues in that.
Well, of course,
in this. Because in that moment, he's like, well...
I did have a father.
Yeah, I did have a father, yeah.
I did have a
And
father.
he was a great father.
He's dead, yeah. That's great.
Earlier, Peter was like, yeah, you're not my fucking dad, whatever. But he's like, no, Uncle Ben, that was my father.
Yeah, and in that moment, too, I don't think he meant that.
What do you mean?
I think it was just an extension of what he was saying, like, don't lecture me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think, so I don't think it was him denying.
But it's still a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just the word, like...
Father.
The word father brings it, like... It's kind of like what I was saying about Christianity, like...
Yeah.
You kind of want him to say you're not my father so he can come around and claim him as his father.
Yes,
It's more cut and dry kind of character arc kind of thing. As opposed to, like, if you didn't mention the father thing, it would be, like, harder. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a great moment. And then it keeps Uncle Ben... Even, like, Uncle Ben's not really in the movie too much, but it keeps his presence there. Which is great.
Yeah, you don't forget about Uncle Ben. Yeah, you don't.
And throughout all three of them, Uncle Ben's presence is always there.
I would almost say that, like, outside of, I mean, nowadays, I think the movie has taken on, like, a different kind of presence. But I think back then, it was, like, the upside-down kiss and Uncle Ben. Those were, like, the two... Those were, like, the two things that you know.
Yeah.
Besides, like, Spider-Man swinging around and
definitely. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like, Uncle Ben, great responsibility, and MJ, upside-down kiss.
Yeah, those... Yeah, I definitely agree. With great power comes great responsibility. Upside down kiss, just a very iconic moment. I wonder. I don't think he was, or I don't think this movie is. But was this movie the first to write Uncle Ben saying it to him? I don't think it is.
I was actually gonna comment on that because I was like that was a genius choice by Samuel Raimi.
I had to look into that, but I'm not sure.
I wouldn't know. I actually think it. I actually think it is, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
Just because this movie basically came about in me and Evan's adolescence, so this is kind of like...
Well, actually, no. I think he does say it. In Ultimate Spider-Man, Uncle Ben says it. In Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1, which has that happening in it, was out before Spider-Man. Yeah. So,
yeah, because there's pictures of Toby on
reading
set
Volume 1.
Reading Volume 1, right? Yeah.
So, yeah, I think... At the very least, Ultimate Spider-Man did it before Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Well, I'm pretty sure Sam Raimi like ghost wrote Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And
then they went.
No, I can't.
Well, no, because they went back and they gave it to whatever his name is, Dan Slott or something.
No, I'm gonna say don't shit on Brian Michael Bendis. I actually like him.
He's okay.
He's cool.
Brian Michael Bendis wrote the slightly less good parts. Sam Raimi wrote.
No, I say Brian Michael Bendis.
What the hell did he do for you?
He had a lot of influence.
On what?
Just his comics were a big influence.
Oh no, he is.
Like the Ultimate stuff.
Yeah.
That was just a big thing on the movies in general.
Because he was
and kind of getting people back into comics in the early 2000s. He was a huge
Marvel guy, right? And I think he kind of championed the whole Marvel Knights thing. Is that right?
Well, he had he has a pretty famous Daredevil run.
Didn't he write anything else for Marvel Knights or no? I don't know.
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I just know because I used to read Ultimate Spider-Man when I was younger and I liked it a lot. For that reason, I want to defend Brian Michael Bendis, and then I know that he's really influential just on getting people back into comics. And with the whole Ultimate thing, it was a chance for younger people to have a fresh start, easily get into the comics. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely.
So for that reason, I give him some credit.
He wrote Bad Superman recently.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can shit on him for that. But...
Well, I just remember hearing, and I think he was influential on the Daredevil show, and I think he was pushing for Marvel to do more like adult comics, and I think that's what I'm thinking about with the Marvel Knights thing. I haven't read too much of his
stuff. I'm not 100% sure about that. Like I said, I used to really like Ultimate Spider-Man.
I love talking Red Hot comic books, though.
Yeah, you do.
That.
You do.
I love that.
Anyways, Norman dies, and in his final moments, he says, "Don't tell Harry." You were gonna say that?
Don't tell Harry.
What were you gonna say about being human?
What I was saying was, he fakes a human moment, like trying to get Peter back on his side, and then he has like a real human moment when he's actually dying, and he says, "Don't tell Harry."
I like that.
His iconic line.
And then
the night
Peter just brings him.
Evan, can I do a Bertram impression?
Who?
Bertram.
Who's that?
You don't know Bertram? The night your father died.
Oh, the butler. Well, yeah, part 3. Anyways, Peter brings Norman's body to his bedroom or whatever, and Harry walks in and sees Spider-Man.
I think that's the little bed he's tied up on in the second movie, right?
Peter?
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's more like a chair.
Is it not like a little chair?
No, he's like on a bed, Norman.
Okay.
But anyways, he brings him there. Harry walks in and sees Spider-Man, and he pulls out the toolie.
He pulls out the toolie, by God.
He pulls out the toolie to try to shoot Spider-Man.
He pulls out the iron.
But he's already gone, so it's too late. And then we get Norman Osborn's funeral. Let me ask you a question, Dylan. After this, does the world become aware that Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin?
No.
They don't, right?
No, I think maybe
maybe later, but not here.
I don't think they ever find out, but I think Peter took
because this is way sentimental of a funeral for you to be having.
No, well, of course at the funeral I don't think anyone knows, and of course I think Peter takes that as an extension. Don't tell Harry, and he's like, well, I can't. I'm not gonna tell anyone else, I guess.
Yeah.
Because then Harry will obviously find out. So.
I agree.
So I think no one knows.
So my question is just, how do they think Norman died? And what do they think about Spider-Man after this?
Wait. Because Bertram says he was killed with his own glider, so...
Yeah.
And then he
becomes in part 2, I think they slightly acknowledge the fact that he might have been Green Goblin. We'll see on the rewatch. We can save this question, I guess. But it's interesting. At least as far as the funeral goes, did they know that he was Green Goblin?
No.
This is way too sentimental.
I don't think they know yet.
For this lunatic.
I wonder how Harry finds out.
Because even Aunt May's at the funeral, right?
Yeah, because Harry...
She would not want to be at the funeral for the man who tortured her.
Yeah. But I don't know why... Peter... Not Peter. I don't know why Harry says that Peter killed... Not Peter. Jesus Christ.
Spider-Man.
I don't know why Harry thinks Spider-Man killed his dad.
He doesn't know
he's the Goblin.
Yeah.
Oh, he brings him his corpse.
Yeah.
But what, and I guess the bugle is, says he's evil, so if you see your dead dad in his hands, it's you killed him, but why would he bring him home? I don't know.
There are some questions about that, but I'm sure the genius Sam Raimi, he has some reason. Me and Dylan just aren't smart enough yet to
We're not smart enough yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
but guess what? We'll get there.
We'll understand it all one day.
We have 20 to 30 less IQ points than Sam Raimi, but guess what? We'll catch up eventually.
We will. Once we get a few years older, it'll make a lot.
No, I think we'll watch this one back to back. We'll watch 2, and then when 2, it'll all connect.
We'll have a full circle moment. I agree.
I think every single plot hole in this movie we were able to justify it some other way, or any discrepancy where we were able to justify
Spider-Man 1 plot hole. No,
or I'm sorry, we were able to fully comprehend the artistic piece.
Anyway, so we had the funeral. And therefore we get a bit of the tension, I suppose, setting up for the sequel between Harry and... Not Peter yet, but Spider-Man. Harry's like, yeah, Spider-Man's gonna pay for this. Peter, you're the only family I have.
It kind of sucks that you have a pretty badass setup, and then Hobgoblin...
Oh, New Goblin.
New Goblin.
We don't even get... Let's save it. Let's save it.
Well, I'm just saying for the setup. The setup's right here, you know?
It does begin here.
It's just like... You'd expect something different.
Yeah.
You'd expect something different.
We'll get to it. So yeah, Harry tells him he's the only family he's got. They hug.
What a situation to be in,
yeah,
am I right?
Poor Peter.
You're his only friend and also the man who killed his dad. Oh, yeah.
And then Peter also had that moment with MJ. Where she's like... Well, even before that, he's like, oh, yeah, no matter what I do, the people I love are always the ones who ends up getting hurt, which is the big Spider-Man thing. For Spider-Man, it's always personal. Yeah. The villains, everything, it's always... Which I really like about him a lot, because it's used in that way to always develop his character, or tell very interesting stories.
Yeah, you can...
You know what I mean?
You
can do a lot with that.
About Spider-Man.
Yeah, you always do something with that. But like I said, it's always a personal thing.
God, this movie's awesome.
And so, yeah, just because of everything that happened with Norman, he realizes, like, yeah, I can't have an intense relationship with anybody, really.
Whether it's an evil green guy or, like, a thug, like, someone's going to be looking for my shit.
Yeah.
Always, so.
And so, he to protect MJ, he decides, I can't be with you.
If you love her, let her go.
Yeah. And, just saying that, though, I'm skipping the fact that MJ confesses her love for Peter.
Yeah. And do you think... So what do you think right here? Does she know they are one and the same at this point?
Well, once they kiss... Because she just comes on.
She says, my God, these are the same lips.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
She touches her lips. She's like, oh, I love you so much, Peter. She starts making out with him. And
I've had a kiss like that before.
Oh, have you really?
I've had a kiss like that before.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it?
We were acting in a movie.
Oh.
Get it? No, but I've had a kiss like that before. It was like completely one-sided.
Are you saying on your end or hers?
I don't want to specify.
No, I wouldn't say this is one-sided because he liked it. Well, he wanted it to happen. He was happy it happened.
His Facebook, Peter Parker's Facebook status that I made is it's complicated for a reason. Is it as complicated?
Let's just say it.
That'd be really funny if it was.
You probably did make it up.
That makes sense. I had a classic Peter Parker Facebook that was pretty funny.
It did have some iconic moments. Anyways, so they kiss, but Peter's like, well, I can only be your friend, sorry.
And she cried.
But I want to say, like, yeah, she kind of realizes
Why did she do that?
Oh, because it's the same lips.
Because he's fucking Spider-Man.
MJ kissed the same lips, that's why she touched hers. But yeah, she realized that, like, Peter's like, oh, you're the only person who's, like, really been there for me. And for that reason, I love you. And like you said, the added fact that maybe she's suspicious of him being Spider-Man already, oh, well, that lends even more to it.
I will say, I give the Vulture thing a lot of credit in Homecoming. But, even though I'm, a lot of people might say that I'm reading into it too much, but I think... No. I think the Mary Jane thing, even though if it's intentional, which I think it probably is... I only say it's probably because they never do a moment where she's like, I knew.
Yeah. Which it's the same thing with Aunt May in Part 2.
Which I like.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And Robbie also.
I can't wait to talk about I love the Aunt May version of that.
Yeah, Robbie and Aunt May both have a moment like that in Part 2. Which I was talking about earlier of Robbie. I kind of spoiled it, but whatever.
But what was it talking about? Oh, the MCU.
Yeah.
Of course. Always got to bring it back to the MCU. I like a lot that here... It's done with a lot of subtlety, and in the movies, it just kind of feels like they're like, well, who wouldn't notice, am I right? Like,
like with MJ?
Yeah, and MJ's like, she was like, I was 58% sure.
Yeah.
You gotta shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, those movies suck. But anyway, Peter walks off, he walks off into the sunset, and then he swings off into the sunset, declaring, I am Spider-Man. And it kind of fits in with the ending. he's like, yeah, I can't have a personal life. I'm not Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah, I have only my responsibility.
Yeah.
But is that right?
Well, we'll see.
But is that right?
There is a part 2. Which
is that the right thing to do?
Delves into this.
I wonder if they address that in the sequel.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
I wonder if they address that.
We'll find out. But it's a great ending. It's a great ending.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Because it brings the whole story full circle, but it also leaves enough bits for part 2 with her, Harry.
If this was the only Spider-Man movie, I'd be happy.
Yeah, me too.
I would have a big smile on my head every time I watch it.
Because you get the point by the end. It's like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. Great responsibility. I gotta do my thing. So there you go.
And he makes the hard choice.
He does make the hard choice.
He makes the hard choice.
He loves her very much.
What? I respect that.
Me too.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
That was we can talk about the Amazing Spider-Man 1's ending, how it kind of does the opposite of this.
Yeah, it does.
So in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, for those of you who have not seen it, at the end of the movie, it's very similar to Spider-Man 1's ending. And Gwen Stacy's father dies, and he's like, yeah, can you promise me something? Stay away from my daughter, since you're Spider-Man, because I don't want her getting dragged into this shit. He promises a dying man, I'll stay away from your daughter. And then, 10 minutes later, he's like, well, some promises are meant to be broken. He literally says that. What a horrible way to end a movie. That's just bad.
It is kind of interesting, though, because they don't
I mean, he does pay for it in part 2, so there is that.
That's what I'm saying. They don't pussy out on that.
Yeah.
It kind of tracks.
It does.
It kind of makes sense. But I kind
just
of like
to
you're
end
saying,
the movie like that. It's a bitter feeling.
They didn't have to do it just like that.
Yeah.
Where it's very deliberately he breaks up because he has to, because he made a promise, because he's sad, then he breaks the promise. That's kind of...
I agree with you, though, about the part 2 thing. So they do make him pay for that choice.
Yeah.
Which is good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But just as a one-off, they could have...
Yeah.
For the one-off, they could have the same kind of result, but if they did it a little different...
I don't even know how you do it right, maybe.
Well, I mean...
You could even just have part 2 beginning like that, where he's like, yeah, fuck this promise.
Yeah.
You could have had just part 2 start like that.
Wait for that.
Because it just feels weird for him to break a dying man's promise and then have his happy swing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, that doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't.
I always thought that about the Amazing Spider-Man.
It's like a say ACAB, whatever. Say what you want about the police, but it's like a hero.
Yeah.
He's a hero.
In this moment, yeah, he definitely is.
He's a good man. And he's just like, well, fuck you. Your daughter makes my wolf.
I remember,
maybe want to shoot web, so I have to talk to her.
This isn't a newer thought. From the moment I saw the Amazing Spider-Man 1, I was always bothered by that. I didn't like it.
No, me too. And I remember I was like, how old were we? We were 14, 15.
Something like that.
And I remember going into a live stream, and these people were like, yeah, that movie sucked. And I remember it was right after it came out, and I brought that up, and they were like, yeah, you're right. You're right. That was one of the first times where I remember having an original thought, and I was like, yeah, I'm the right one. Yay. I'm a film bro.
That ain't great. But Spider-Man 1, it brings the theme full circle.
But it does feel like it's just a deliberate
set up for part 2.
Well, no. It's a deliberate attempt to subvert Spider-Man 1.
Oh, yeah. I would agree.
That's all they were doing is just, let's do the opposite of what they...
Yeah, but then it's then your movie's inconsistent, because you have the great power and great responsibility thing in it, and then you don't go full circle with it.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't learn that lesson until part 2.
They only have Uncle Ben there in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 just to have it.
Because he's a character.
Yeah. They don't do anything with it.
Yeah, they're more worried about his secret agent parents and shit like
which
that.
Which is stupid, but anyways. But yeah, that's Spider-Man 1.
For any TASM fans out there...
And this is our longest episode.
Oh, wow. You're not kidding.
Over 3 hours.
You're actually not kidding.
I knew it was going to be long. And I have a sneaking suspicion part 2 might be longer.
I don't think longer. Because we've kind of... laid a lot of the groundwork.
That is true. That is true.
But I think it'll be long.
It'll be long.
Definitely for a fact. Might be the second longest episode. If you did listen to this... By the way, 3 out of 3 stars for Dylan.
Oh, 10 out of 10 for Evan.
Great fucking movie.
Yeah. Definitely.
Evan, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What is your favorite Raimi merch that you own?
I really like the Norman figure.
That's your favorite one?
I like that one a lot.
I think if you fell asleep and if you took a nap in the middle half of this podcast, which is very possible, I said that I had got Evan
the Norman,
not dressed as a goblin, just straight Norman civilian clothes figure from 2002.
So I like that one a lot.
I'm touched to know that is your favorite, and my favorite as well is probably this fucking figure I've been playing with the whole time.
See, Dylan?
So thank you.
True bros.
We're great friends.
True bros.
Great friends.
True bros.
And it came with a sick gargoyle you can put on your shelf.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
my shelf.
The one he's sitting on in that one scene. The one you said you forgot is in the movie.
That he's in the wrong costume, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
But still, good scene.
Yeah, good scene.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Actually, before I get to the end, do you just have any general final thoughts on Spider-Man 1? Anything to say about it?
Well,
Great fucking movie.
Super
influential.
Super influential.
Yeah.
I touched on it before, but these, like, if you were going to send me to hell, or a better example might be like a deserted island. If you're going to send me to a deserted island, you know, let's say
I take Spider-Man to hell with you.
Yeah, I'd take Spider-Man to hell with me. No, if let's say I have to, you know, spend some time alone for an amount of time, and I can only bring a few movies with me. This is one of them.
Oh, for sure.
This is one of my favorite movies ever made, and it, something about it, I think because it's almost kind of like a day in the life thing. It's not, because it's an origin story, but it almost feels like a day in the life kind of thing. I feel like it just, like, I don't know about ages better, maybe?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? Age is better than 2?
Ooh, I don't know.
Not, age is better is maybe the wrong choice of words, but it's more evergreen, I guess. Which I guess can be said for most movies that start a franchise than the sequels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like the quintessential Spider-Man movie for me. And it's like this, Iron Man 1, Batman Begins, and the first Superman are all fucking perfect superhero movies for me.
Yeah.
I can't praise it enough, Evan. I can't praise it enough.
Yeah, like I said, this is my second favorite superhero movie, right beyond Part 2. And I'm very excited for that. And for me, like I said, I just think this movie, it really kicked off the modern superhero movie.
Yeah.
Which is that and X-Men.
This and X-Men, I think.
Yeah.
I think you could argue for Blade too.
There is Blade also. Blade's a great movie.
It's weird that they're. Why are they all Marvel movies? Thanks, Avi Arad.
Thanks, Avi. Avi has something.
Avi low-key kind of goated.
Yeah, he is.
Like low-key, he's kind of.
Well, we'll talk about a great thing he did for Spider-Man 2 once.
Oh yeah, he did do something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. So, by the way, if you did enjoy this episode, if it wasn't clear, we're gonna have 5 Spider-Man movies. Episodes in a row, 5 Spider-Man podcasts in a row.
Yeah, we did one last week.
Speculation, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2 next week, Spider-Man 3 the week after that,
and then finally, No Way Home.
No Way Home will come out, and we'll do an episode on that. So if you like Spider-Man, it's a good month for RNS.
It is. And it's good for our viewers also, because our Spider-Man videos always do pretty good numbers.
And yeah, and then
numbers for us at least. They do good numbers for us. So yeah.
If we get triple digits, I'm pretty happy.
I agree.
I'm pretty happy. So if you don't want to miss our next Spider-Man episodes, subscribe and guess what? Click the bell.
Yes.
Click the bell because it'll notify you when our new Spider-Man episode come out. If you're already subscribed,
shout out to you.
Leave a like.
Leave a like also, but shout out to you. Thank you for being subscribed.
But also, thank you for being subscribed. Guess what? We're over the first hump. We were stuck at 30 for a while, right? So
I'll take it. Literally any one subscriber now, I'm like, it makes me pretty happy. Yeah, so I don't care. Anyways, before we leave, I do have to say my cool Dylan fun fact for the week. Oh shit! Dylan owns a cat, and her name is Nemo.
Oh!
There's your Dylan fun fact.
Oh, I love Nemo.
There's your Dylan fun fact.
Can I add one on?
Yeah.
I have another cat. Nemo's gray and white. My other cat is black. And her name is Omen.
Omen.
Scary. Get it? Because like a black cat is like an omen, but it's also Nemo backwards.
That's mean.
It's awesome.
But I do like the backwards Nemo then.
It's cool. Yeah. And plus like Omen, black cats are an omen.
That's a little too perfect, Dylan. I don't like it.
It's cool.
It's creepy.
It's cool. I'm a writer.
You are a writer.
Thank you.
Thank you, RNS listeners, and we'll see you with Spider-Man 2. Goodbye.
I love you.
I love you.